Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Loss of Lieutenant. Before we get underway on our live AMA end of year celebration, just a couple of quick announcements. So we've concluded our November challenge, which was the Swiss Army bot. Congratulations to Kyle Bonderud for his submission, which for November, winning a blister of their choice from the legends over at Toy Soldier Imports. So thank you TSI for your support with that. We've got our December monthly challenge, which is Now I Have a Machine Gun. Ho, ho, ho. That's right, folks. December is here, and with it, the silly season has begun. A time to begin, a time for giving and sharing and hoping that 20 on a booty chart. Val, stop doing that. So, for the month of December, we want you to reach deep inside Santa's sack and see what goodies you'll find. Until the end of the year, we want you to use a profile with the booty skill or play a mission that contains panoplies. This is a fun challenge to cap off 2022, so we want to see the craziest booty stories that you can come up with. And with bikes now getting cover, permanently in the new rules, it's a perfect time to dust off the motorized bounty hunter that you painted for the previous season. As always, send your reports and analysis to us at lossoflieutenant@gmail.com. Due to the festive season, a random winner will be selected sometime in the first week of January to win a blister of their choice from Toy Soldier Imports. And just to cap off the Q4 hobby challenge, which is the ITS14 Extra. So up until the end of this year, we want you to paint one of the ITS14 Extras. That can be a Sec Deck CSU, Corsair Bashi Bazooka, or a Takimoto's equipped toolbox bot. To enter, send us 1 before and 4 after photos to lossoflieutenant@gmail.com. We want it new for the challenge, so please do not share it on socials before the end of the quarter, but after that, go nuts. A random winner will be selected at the end of the month to win a small box of their choice from Toy Soldier Imports. And that's all on those announcements, so let's get things underway. Good evening, listeners, and welcome to the latest episode of Lost Lieutenant. I'm your host, Nick.
Val.
And Kevin.
And we're also joined by Kevin. Kev, I know I did say that there was no interference coming from you before, but there is like a bit of a slight hum coming through on your end. So,
all right, I'll deal with it. I'll just be warm.
Just be hot. Just be hot. But tonight is a bit of a special episode. So rather than streaming live for our loyal Patreon cocks, we've decided to open up tonight to the rest of the audience, and anyone who is on our Discord can jump in and sit in on tonight's episode of our Lost Lieutenant AMA. So the past couple of weeks we've been collecting questions on Facebook and on Discord, and we're on Twitter now as well. So I think we got one question on Twitter, which is nice. It wasn't from Elon Musk.
That was quick.
But so we're really keen to jump in and have a bit of a chat and a bit of a celebration.
And yeah,
those in the chat as well, if you've got questions, feel free to jump in. We're also happy to for you to read it live on the recording. You can even put your face in there if you like as well. So
that's right.
We've got the what am I saying? The thing open. The chat's open in front of us, so we can see everything coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys are gonna ask a question, there's no rickrolling or any funny business that's inappropriate. But yeah, feel free to read out and in your biggest, loudest voice, and we'll add it to the episode. I love the fact that you told Kevin there's a hum.
He's got some. He's got some.
There was definitely a hum.
Sweat. No, there was a bit of a hum. Beautiful. And we've got wine tonight as well, so I think... Kev, are you having a drink as well?
I also have some wine. It's contained within my metal water bottle.
I thought that was a bottle of Gatorade.
No, the camp I'm working The camp I'm working on you have to have all open containers. So I didn't want my wine to go bad, so I put it in my handy little water bottle to consume later.
Yeah, I've heard of people hating their job that much that they drink.
Well, yeah.
That's fair. Awesome.
Okay. Well, before we get underway with the questions, I did just want to do a couple of quick event announcements. We have done these event announcements before, so I'm just going to blast through these pretty quickly. But on the 7th of January, we have the Road to CanCon happening at the Seabrook Community Centre in Seabrook, Victoria. So jump on Facebook to get all the details for that, as well as CanCon itself, January 21 to 23 in Canberra. 300 points, 2 days, 5 rounds. It's going to be a blast. I am actually thinking about maybe going.
Where there's room on the bus.
Late
There's room
entrance.
on the bus. There's room on the bus. We've got a bus. Can you believe it? We've got a bus. We actually got a bus. It's not worth it at all, but it's going to be a great time. We're paying, so the amount of money it would cost you to drive up with maybe 3 friends in your car is probably going to be like, I don't know, $80 cheaper than the bus. But the bus is going to have 11 people drunk and one person driving. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so good. And we're gonna feed Taj, the driver. We're gonna feed him like cigarettes the whole way, like he's in chain smoke cigarettes without ever holding the cigarette himself. It's gonna be amazing. But yeah,
he's the only guy who can drive the
he's
bus.
The only one. Yeah,
right?
he's the only one who's allowed to drive a bus of 24 people.
Man, you gonna be paying that guy.
The only other thing, actually, I will put a shout out. If anyone has friends going to CanCon who are not playing Infinity, come on in. So if anyone has got friends going to CanCon who's not playing Infinity and needs a ride, we've got like at least 8 spots on the bus. So please, if they want to listen to a bunch of Infinity nerds talk Infinity on their way to CanCon, they're very welcome.
Cool. So are you with us there, Kev? You look a bit distant.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to let everyone else know that we're streaming this live.
That's a really good idea, and thanks for the shout out. See, this is why we do things with an audience, because they let us know our own failings. We've had one of our listeners has told us that we should probably post that we've gone live, so that's going up now.
That's good.
So
sorry,
thanks.
I did talk right over your announcement. So you're actually considering CanCon?
I'm thinking about it.
All right. What's made it
one
possible?
thing that's holding me back is the fact that it's not on the. There's no public holidays, right? If it shouldered if one of the days, the Friday or the Monday was a public holiday, then I'd be like, yeah, I probably can make it. But
because
so right now I'm probably 50-50, because that's going to be a really busy time for me at work as well.
Oh yeah.
So I don't necessarily know if I can afford to take the time.
2 days effectively, yeah.
But we'll
it's
see.
hard.
But cool.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome if you get them down.
Yeah. But I'm not sure.
Yep, gotcha.
It's not guaranteed just yet. Okay, well, I think we can probably just jump straight into some of these AMA questions, Val. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Well, if you took the bus in and then flew out Sunday night.
But then it's just costly, right?
But if you fly out Sunday.
Yeah, but just like flying at all is just expensive.
Yeah, it is true.
So like I wouldn't want to do that just because of the cost.
Yeah. It's egregious, isn't it? But maybe flying out of Canberra might be cheap. And then the bus you can just.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I haven't actually checked how much it costs to fly in and out from Melbourne to Canberra. So maybe I will look at that. But
sure.
Yeah,
because I think more people leaving Canberra.
Whereas when we recorded the last episode with Rob talking about CanCon, I was 0% coming to CanCon, right? Because I just couldn't fit it in. Right now, I'm probably 10% coming to CanCon.
Nice.
So
telling me there's a chance.
You tell me there's a chance.
Yeah, excellent. Good as. All right, that's bad.
Oh, well,
how are we coming through? Are we coming in loud? Are we coming in all right?
Oh, you're coming in lovely. Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm coming in all right. I'm not causing too much interference with, being as I am in the middle of bloody nowhere.
That's absolutely fine. The only there's a bit of a lag between your voice and your video, but having your beautiful pixelated face there is better than nothing. So that's fine.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, we're
it actually makes you look better with when you can only get half a dozen pixels.
All of us, to be fair, it evens out all our skin. It's great. If
no blemishes at all. I mean, I was a bit late getting here because I had to finish work and I had to walk about 500 meters in 33 degrees. So I was a bit. I'm glad. I'm probably glistening anyway. So you could probably.
You're probably. Oh, jeez.
That's all good. Well, I think we should
Get cracking.
get cracking. We've got a nice easy question to warm us in at the start here from Cranky Old Man, who has asked, "Is there a faction you feel is more beginner friendly? I started N4 by buying the JSA box set, and it was rough. That's. I'm sure you're not the only person who's had that experience jumping in with JSA and having a bit of a rough time. Is there a faction you feel is better for new players?" I'm happy to jump in on this one to start with. Like I mentioned before, buying in with the JSA box set, like I think it's, I mean, it was more so in N3, it was harder. N4, JSA are not as difficult as they used to be, but they're still a niche faction to have such beautiful models, and like the appeal for JSA is like so heavy for so many people who are into that style, like the anime sort of
I just think CB
weeb shit.
Yeah, I think I think CB have nailed the aesthetic of the JSA, sci-fi Japanese ninja / samurai, better than I think any of their other factions. I think they've really done a cracking job with the sculpting there. So I'm definitely a weeb that wants to play JSA, but
everyone's seen Ghost in the Shell, right?
Yep.
Everyone, and if you don't like it, if you don't like Ghost in the Shell, then
you probably like Black Bible, but it's one of the two.
Yeah. And so like I can totally see why people would want to jump in with JSA. To address the actual question though about like
Maybe
what's more beginner friendly, my and I know people disagree with this, but my opinion is, and this is how I started in the game, that vanilla is so much easier to play than sectorals, because yes, you've got more choice, it's more open, you've got 100 different profiles instead of 30 different profiles to look at. But if you go vanilla, you like the look of a faction, you can buy whatever models you want. You don't have to worry about whether or not they actually can go in that army.
Or the link or whatever.
Yeah, or if they're going to be linkable. You don't have to worry about link teams at all, which, for better or for worse, is a complicated part of the game.
Yes, it is. It really is. Kevin, what about you, mate?
Yeah, I think CB releasing the JSA box, when would that have been?
18.
16?
16. Oh,
18?
No, it was. I started playing in 2017, and so it would have come out in 2018, I reckon.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so 2018. Let's just say that it was a bit of a it was an interesting play because it is very popular, but it's also one of the hardest armies to play. It's one of the smallest rosters. It's one of the most limited factions. And actually, when you're mentioning it, there hasn't been a new JSA model released since that came out, except for that limited edition Shikami, right?
Exactly.
So
yeah,
that does show how good the sculpts are holding up like 4 years later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Which is really, which is obviously why it was so popular and still is really popular. But yeah, JSA was a trap for a lot of players. Like we had a lot of players in our area picked up JSA, and then they're like, "How do I win?" And I'm like, "Not with this army, unfortunately."
I hope it's not important to you. That's right.
No, trying to do anything good with them.
Yeah,
and they have gotten better. They have gotten better in N4. And then just I guess to answer the question, the same one that Nick just answered, I would say it depends. It's horses for courses. Like you can. Some people think vanilla is better. Some people think sectoral is better. They're both fine. It's really whatever you feel most comfortable with. What Nick said is, I think I believe in, because when you pick up Hack Islam, like, or say for instance Hack Islam vanilla, every model you're picking up is going to be is useful. Like the problem with getting in sectoral first and then moving into vanilla is you inevitably pick up models that are completely useless in vanilla. Like things which go into link teams. Like you buy like a bunch of Fusiliers for your Varuna army and you're like,
or Bow Troopers.
Cool, I'm never going to use them in anything. Well, Fusiliers is maybe a bad example because you can use them in the other sectorals. Yeah, you're not going to use them in vanilla.
Exactly.
So I think going the other direction is I find better.
Yep.
And you'll also learn more of the game with vanilla. Often a sectoral is like geared in a particular direction.
I think so as well.
You don't get to experience that if you get to experience more ways to play with vanilla, and you also get to find out how you like to play with vanilla. Whereas again, sectorals, you kind of like Verona looks cool, and then you're like, oh, but they only do long range shooting. Whereas if you picked up maybe vanilla Pano, you would be like, oh,
I can do any type of shooting.
Really,
Pano's a bad
as
example
a
because they can
new
only do one good thing.
as a newer player, it's really hard to get a full grasp on like the strengths and weaknesses of a sectoral, because you just don't have the experience to know where those things lie, right? Just by looking at it on face value. By starting off in with a vanilla faction, you can, and this is the way that whenever I'm talking to a new player, this is how I explain the best way to learn how to get better at Affinity. I mean, get more reps in, right? You'll lose 20 games in a row.
Get good at losing.
Get good at losing.
Lose humbly.
But when your opponent, like, just take what you want, right? Get your 10, 15 models, throw them on the table. Then when your opponent throws something at you that is like an impersonator or hidden deployment or a drop troop or whatever it is, and they'll annihilate you with it, but that's okay because you've just learnt that aspect of the game by getting your teeth kicked in, and then you can start to think, okay, what in my army can do what that just did to me, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm like, holy shit, that Tiger Soldier was amazing. What does my army have that can do a similar sort of thing? Where are my drop troops? How am I going to play them? And then you get something like that and pick that up and have a go. And expand that way.
Well, I answered this question a little bit differently. Basically, I think any of the main factions are fine to pick up and play, be it vanilla or sectorials. Personally, I think much more importantly is how you start learning the game. I'm a big proponent of the 150 point format to learn the game. I think it's I don't know why it took so long to really cement it in my brain, but playing 150 points on a small table gives you exposure to multiple profiles that you can test, and you can test them in the right range bands and situations to really get a good feel of what each model can do. Furthermore, the games are quick, so if you get your face stomped in, doesn't matter. It's an hour-long game. You can get 2 in a night, so that way, hopefully, you're more likely to have that good experience. Because, like I said, part of the question is, it was really rough playing JSA. And the reason it was rough playing JSA is because JSA excel at close combat in a game that is based around shooting. So so they're definitely a tricky faction to play, but they're very strong once you get them. And finally, I think who you play is really important as well. So new players playing together, generally, it's a really good environment to kind of grow and learn together in. When you're playing somebody more experienced than you, that's when you can have feel bads if that person isn't conscious to kind of teach you.
It depends, right? I think that's the crux of at that point, right? If you've got a group of new players and you're there as an experienced player, you've got to change your approach. That you're not there to obviously if you're playing in a tournament setting, then it's different because you do want to win, probably. But if it's just like a Thursday night games night and it's you and half a dozen people who are super new, then you have to adopt that mentor role to take them through the ropes.
Well, the only reason I've ever lost a game in Geelong in the last 14 months is simply because I played down to them the whole time. I'll get some messages for that one, boys. Cheers. But no, anyway.
I think you're right. Sorry, go ahead.
So I was just going to say, cranky old man. Great question to begin with. Thank you very much. I hope you don't get rid of your JSA. You'll come back to them once you've got some more experience on the game, and I think you'll really appreciate them because they're freaking cool.
Cool.
Agreed.
Do you mind reading the next question?
Yeah, I'll set the tempo. Oh, look at this, a tempo question. Who sets the tempo best on the table? Well,
sorry. So who's this from? Who's the question?
This is from? Kyle B. Thank you very much.
Kyle Bonderod, who was a recent winner. He asked the question.
Yeah. Oh, he won the.
He won the thing. Yes.
Right, Kyle Bonderod. See, Kevin's put it together. So he's asked the question. This is a great question. Basically,
who sets the tempo best on the table?
Wow. Who's
Are we talking about like between like the four of us?
I think
hosts?
so. I think so. I think
Right,
I'd
okay,
have to
yeah.
say Nick. And Nick's probably the most aggressive player out of the four of us. And
Okay.
our
Yeah.
For better or for worse.
better for us. And the definition of setting tempo, as we all know, our loyal listeners, is forcing your opponent to react to what you're doing, right or wrong. Right into lossoflieutenant@gmail.com. Thanks you, Robert. Um, and basically, yeah, I think Nick's definitely the most aggressive player out of the group. What do you guys reckon?
I am the tempo.
You are the tempo. I can't say I know exactly what tempo is, but yeah, if you define it as who what was it you said, Val? Repeat that again, because I want
So
to get a screen grab of
it's
that.
basically if you force your opponent to react to your whatever you do. So if you're forcing
Right,
your
okay.
opponent to react to you, then you've got the
it's,
tempo.
it's funny, right? I used to play super aggressively and always want the first turn, but since N4's come out, I've preferred the second turn push. I'm a much bigger fan of, and the way I've been building my armies as well. I've got like group 1 is a group I want to do things with. Group 2 is only a small group, 5 or 6, but they're all standing up in ARO.
Right.
So
Yeah.
hard ARO group 2.
And group 1
going second, making my opponent deal with those hard AROs. Not necessarily not super hard AROs, in that I like a lot of camo in my ARO presence.
So
as
you
well.
choose the fight.
Yeah, exactly. Or if I'm choosing not to fight and my opponent's discovering, well, them wasting time wasting half an order on a discover is absolutely fine by me as well. So
anyway, but the point is, but tempo isn't about, as we know, it's not about who's the most aggressive, right? But if we're gonna if it was who's the most aggressive out of the four of us, I'd probably say Nick. Who's got the best tempo?
The entire point of this question was to trigger this conversation about what the fuck is tempo.
We don't have 4 hours to discuss tempo
because we don't know. Nobody knows.
Fucking, but yeah.
I wish you included the definition of tempo in your question, Kyle.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I wasn't gonna. Yeah, so we have a few responses to this question already.
Yeah. Well, all right, Kyle. That blister that was supposed to be coming your way, it's not coming anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know who's got best tempo because I don't know what it is. That's my answer to that question.
Perfect. All right.
What's the next question?
This is a good one. You want to read, Kev? Because would you go around circles?
Sure. Yep. So he also asks, oh god, you guys gotta like
this
so I don't just like start asking.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll sort it out. Sorry, we had different colors, but then Val chose the color that you can't even fucking see. Cyan. And so I just was like, I'm
worst color to read.
I'm taking out in all this.
I have.
That's like yellow. It's just like bright yellow. You're like, what the fuck is wrong?
I have blue light filtering on my laptop, so I thought it looked fine. And then I come here and it's all like, I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Okay, Kev, I'm going to go through and bold all these questions. Kev, you can just read this one for us.
Sure. Okay. Sure. So Kyle also asks, I like this question. What's one change you'd make to Infinity if you could make one? It could be a rule, an interaction, a profile, or anything. And why is it ditching total immunity? So I'll lead off with this one.
Sure.
First of all, I think total immunity is fine. But I would like to see more vulnerabilities dished out on total immunity. A good example is the Karakuri or robots, but they apparently are immune to EM, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, they don't necessarily need a vulnerability because they're like, while they're good, they're not amazing. But I just think like these sort of, if they're giving vulnerability viral to dogs and bears, then why not give vulnerability EM to like robots? To me, it seems like a good idea.
Do you know they're also waterproof?
They're essentially an iPhone with a minigun, right? So they're pretty resilient.
It's a sexual joke. Anyway, you guys will get later.
Okay. Oh, I see. Sorry, are you getting weeby on us? Again?
Oh yeah,
you
very much so.
Weebs on us again,
Yeah,
right? Okay, I see. Right, they're waterproof because men are disgusting. So
men have a name.
So the one thing I would change would be to make super jump work the same as climbing plus.
Yeah,
because currently it
doesn't.
No.
How does it go?
Because super
even with the update.
yeah, even with the update, it still doesn't work. So at the moment, climbing plus turns climb into a short movement skill move, and super jump just turns jump into a short movement jump.
Oh, it
So it's
just
still a-
it just
you're-
makes jump instead of being a long skill, a short skill, whereas climb makes you treat vertical surfaces as flat.
Well, no, it's more easy than that. Climbing plus
Because that's what I meant. So
just
climbing plus.
becomes a short movement skill move.
Nice.
Yeah, and coupled with the fact that the vertical faces are
So
flat.
the reason why I find this important is if you're playing Rama Task Force and you've got a Quarries link that's mixed with super jumping and non-super jumping models. If Tariq is in that link, for example, he's got super jump, he's a link leader, he declares super jump, short movement skill super jump. Everyone else in the link team has to idle and do nothing.
This is the most biased
Yeah.
opinion I've ever heard because he plays Rama.
Yeah.
But no, he's right. He is right. Like the interaction's awkward.
So and I don't see a reason why it shouldn't be treated as climbing plus. Because then it's also just more homogeneous. It's the same.
So
way
you want it
works.
so that when the leader does his super jump, the other people can move as well.
Yeah, that's what he's
move, because currently if you've got a climbing plus guy in the link team, then if the person declares climbing plus, that turns into a short movement skill move, so he can scale the wall and everyone else in the link team just moves as normal.
So an impersonator or camouflage marker can with climbing plus can just move without breaking camo or anything like that. What about a super jumping impersonator or camo? Do they break it?
They don't break it either because it's a short movement skill.
Okay, short movement jump skill.
They only break it because super jump is a short movement skill,
So
but it
if
is
it's a long
not
skill,
using the
it is
move label. Also, but if they made for this season, if they made super jump a move, then you would get the extra inch when you super jumped, which would be nice.
Sorry to interrupt, but we've had a super hot question come in on the from one of our listeners. Just bring it up on your phone.
Oh, I don't have the data for it.
Oh my God.
No, I'm joking.
Do you want to
No,
connect?
no, I'm joking.
So Wanna asks.
Ooh, co-host.
With one of our cocks, one of our chain of command Patreons.
Yeah.
So with the patches that were sent out to the Patreon backers, so recently all of our Patreon supporters, if they wanted, could have one of our Lost Lieutenant patches sent out to them. With the patches that were sent out to the Patreon backers, Nick was childishly enthusiastic to know if anyone had seen the secret message on the inside of the envelopes. I missed it because the envelope got destroyed in the rain, but will you confirm my suspicions? You drew a dick on it, didn't you? The answer is yes. I drew a very small cock and balls on the inside of each envelope. And
so childish.
Because
middle-aged white man. Like, what do you want?
That's the sort of love. That's the sort of love that we send to our Patreon backers, and we love them all equally.
Oh God! Speaking very quickly about dicks being drawn. So as some of you may know, I'm in the middle of nowhere on a mine site,
I thought it was a cigarette.
and when you go to the toilet, you go in one of the cubicles, you will be greeted by about 1,000 badly drawn dicks. And these are drawn by men with children. These are drawn by middle-aged men.
What? They're just bored.
I don't know what's about us men. We just love drawing dicks.
It's just funny. They're just so funny. Like,
I mean, it's fine. It's fine with Nick. He drew on an envelope which he bought, but on the cubicle door.
I've got a dick fact. I've got a dick fact for everyone. All right, listen.
Dick fact.
Here's a dick fact. So, do you know all those statues in Athens and those Greek marble statues of like naked Greeks, right? The reason their penises are so small,
I know this one, yeah,
is because back in the day when they used to give them big horse cocks, people used to snap them off after a drunken night.
That's not true.
That's true.
No, that's not the reason why.
It's true. So they start sculpting them so it blends into their balls, so people can't snap them off. So dicks have been funny for centuries.
No, the reason why they have small dicks is because having a big, like a large appendage was considered barbaric.
No, I don't believe that.
The reason that they have these
there's no way big dicks ever went out of style. I'm sorry.
Little members is because is because it's
You're telling me big dicks were out of style at one point?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no way. There's no way.
Yep.
No.
You couldn't wear trousers. You couldn't have a big dick. It's just men in dresses. Sorry, togas.
The reason why the reason why Scotsmen like the kilts come down to their knees.
Yeah. Hey.
So sorry.
Self-promotion.
Back
So,
back to the AMA.
back to- yeah, so back to the question.
Enough
So
penis talk.
that was my answer.
I've got one for this question. I think there's too many weapon
No.
profiles. Right?
Oh, sorry. I'm meant to sad react to Jacob. Too many weapon profiles.
Too many weapon profiles.
You're so wrong.
I think the Red Fury shouldn't exist.
Ah,
I think it should just be a shock Spitfire.
you sound like one of those new players we have.
Okay. Here's this next bit is where I think it makes sense, right? Shotguns. Why do we have a light shotgun, a boarding shotgun, and a heavy shotgun? Why don't you just get a
Vulcan
shotgun with +1 damage, +2 damage?
What's the difference?
Because light shotguns don't have AP.
Yeah, light shotguns don't have AP. Duh.
Well, then give the other two AP as well.
Then you got two
but then
profiles.
you've
The template and the blast would be
become too
both the AP.
No, that's not true.
What about Vulcan shotguns?
Vulcan shotguns Vulcan shotgun is just a shotgun with +1 damage and continuous damage.
But it sounds so much cooler with Vulcan shotgun. Like you can't take that away from Morath.
I can, and I think you should.
Well, there's
Okay.
too many moving parts there because the Vulcan shotgun is a boarding shotgun. When you put templates down, it's continuous damage.
That's right.
Different.
See, this is why we're not game
And heavy
designers, and luckily this question doesn't actually have any merit.
I do
These
kind
answers.
of agree because like you could just go shotgun. It doesn't work. You still have to have light shotguns, and what you could do is you could do boarding shotgun +1 damage, or a heavy shotgun, but you still have to have something for the Vulcan shotgun to cover continuous damage because not both profiles aren't continuous.
Yep, I see what you mean. Yeah. Well, you can.
So
but,
Red Furies have different range bands.
But
than
technically, you know what you could
Spitfires.
do.
So
You know
remember
what?
So,
You know what
we
you
can
could do?
we can get rid of heavy shotguns.
You know what you could do? You could do combi
we can.
rifle +2 damage, combi rifle +2 damage and +16 inches. Like you could do, like there's the limit, right? Like it just let's have it.
it just becomes like everything just numbered.
Yeah.
Wait, no. I just think there was the big push in N4 to denest skills.
We lost that.
right? Why didn't they? Why were shotguns not denested? And I think they could have done.
I kind of agree, but I get you.
That's fine.
You could go Spitfire -1
No,
damage.
the Red Fury though shouldn't exist. I understand the range band is slightly different, but in a way that is so
But damage is different as well.
unimportant.
Damage.
Right? Sure, it's damage 13 versus damage 14. But just get rid of it. Just give him a shock Spitfire, right? It's fine. Because the range band difference is that at the higher end it's still -3 for longer, whereas the Spitfire goes to -6. Who cares?
But then Cheskin can actually do damage.
If you're shooting that gun at that range, you're doing it wrong anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
I want DEPs back. That's what I want. I want my
yes.
Libertals with a DEP.
DEP
On
is
that
cool.
one-shot Panzer short range.
Isn't it just a Panzerfaust?
How do we just go? We went from
DEP is a
for less,
short
now
range
we're asking for more.
Panzerfaust. It's like a rifle range band Panzerfaust.
No, I'm glad they got
Yeah.
rid of that.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
My answer to the question, I guess I don't know if this is valid, but what is one change you can make to Infinity if you can make one? Basically, I think I'd like to bring some love and joy to the Eugene forums, which is just as impossible as making guided a fun play experience. Because
burn.
because the thing is, both are integral to the game, but neither are a good time for everyone. So, yeah, that's my answer.
Guided missiles are not integral to the game. Guided missiles are like
They are
cheap
integral to the
tack
game.
on.
They've been there since N1, and they are a very valid strategy to deal with.
Whatever. I disagree. It's a terrible tactic.
So,
You're a shit person.
I wasn't listening. What did you say?
I said bring love and joy to the Eugene forums, which is as impossible as making guided a fun play experience.
Guided's fine, for one thing. Oh, sorry.
Nick's on
guided
pain right now.
Guided
Not
would
fine.
be fine.
Says the man who's never been guided before.
Oh, it
Man
happened.
who's
It happened
never
once,
used
It will happen again.
and I cheated. And yeah,
That's fine.
no. Guided would be fine if U-turn came back as a hacking program. That's another change I would make. Bring back
Antipity
U-turn.
and Bolt. Antipity and Bolt just said that, and I fully 100% agree.
Bring back U-turn.
You're agreeing with Trent right now, by the way.
U-turn specifically with the -6, not the -3 that people say. So like if you use U-turn, it just takes the BS18 back down to BS12.
Yeah.
Then it's way more easy to dodge.
So you still get your +6 and it changes it to -6.
Yeah.
No, it's a +6 -6, so it's flats. Is that what you mean?
It basically flats. It just
Yeah.
cancels your. It doesn't cancel your guided, but it cancels your BS bonus. I think that makes.
I think that would be
More
fine as
sense.
well.
To be honest, if you had such a problem, they can start introducing like a thing like, I don't know, in missions saying, in scenarios being like, oh, whatever, like.
What are you proposing? What? Wait, are you what?
I'm proposing that they can make some missions be like guided disruption.
No guided
Or guided disruption where there's like Elon satellites are getting in the way, so the guided missiles just keep hitting those. They just keep hitting those.
Oh, yeah, probably an announcement we should have made earlier. We have a Twitter account.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah.
We're Elon Simps.
So if you're on Twitter, hey, no. So I created the Twitter account when you create
Elon took over Twitter. Yes,
when you create yeah, that's right. When you create a Twitter account, the first person that it says that it recommends that you should follow is Elon Musk. I'm like, okay, I'll give him a follow. And
You're
then
not the first to
what
do
did you
it.
do, Kev?
That
What did you do?
MySpace.
What did you do?
Unfollowed that motherfucker.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's-
I was having a
'cause
fun
he should-
time
You're just a left
reading through
left
the.
hippie, Kevin. Like you're just so far left, mate.
It's just no, because like Twitter is weird, right? Because right. So when you've only got like 2 followers, right, or when you've got like 10 followers,
When you've got when you've got no
find out-
followers
find out-
and the only person you follow is Elon Musk.
But
Yeah.
it's like MySpace. You only had that one friend. What's his name?
it's just
Tom.
like
You only had
a
Tom as your friend.
constant, like it's just constantly like whatever, I don't know, his thought diarrhea is coming out. It's bad. I didn't enjoy it.
Maybe he's guided. You must expand the target. What? Plan. Make a BTSF spotlight. All these suggestions. Anyway. We missed a question. Who has the most chest hair? I think it's Nick.
Who has the most chest
where's
hair?
that?
Oh yeah, no, it's me.
I think it's
Oh,
Nick.
definitely Nick. Yeah,
I don't know if
100%
that's
Nick.
what they asked for, but sure, that's what they get.
Yeah, you can
I got to jump on,
show
so
everybody.
it's tricky. So I'll take a.
All right, guys, bring it on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
censor
don't
this.
know.
It goes all the way
Yeah, it's a
down.
lot of chest
It
hair.
goes all the way down.
I don't know. I think
All the way
Jacob
down, all the way
might.
down to your toes.
That's right.
I think
From-
Jacob might
Like
have some.
like there's a gap
Well,
right
he's got a fair bit
at the
too, I think,
bottom
yeah.
at the base of my neck. Right, there's a bit where no hair grows. Right here.
Mm.
Right, that's the only part of my
Right.
sorry there and increasingly at the top of my head. That's the only part of my body that has no hair on it.
Jacob keeps it pretty buttoned up, so I don't know. He could be up there.
Yeah. The bottom of my feet, hair.
Bottom of your feet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Actually, the bottom of your feet.
I got hair all the way up my cock.
Oh wow.
All-
Oh, you are what like
They didn't. They're not. They wouldn't have made any statues of you. That'd have been far too hard.
hairy penis. Fun times. Okay, so next one.
No,
We are into favorite sectoral profile released / updated this year and why. Al.
All right, I'll go first. Some of the new Morat stuff is very, very good. I think the Kai Talk are great, and I love the update to the Tigers. Fuck you, you fucking
As a,
Fuck
CA
you.
as a
players.
profile update.
Yeah. And the CA players. Fuck you.
Fuck combined army.
Yeah,
and
that's
their
right.
Tigers.
Yeah,
No,
and like
unless
I
you
mean
play
from a
Shazvasti.
sorry, go Kev.
Sorry, I was just gonna say unless you play Shazvasti, in which case we're just sad.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right.
I mean, from like a profile update, I am totally behind the points increases that have happened across the board for. I mean, mostly for combined army, right? I'm totally okay
I
with
left
that.
as well.
As someone who has never, I don't think I've ever actually won a game against an avatar in my entire life. And I think it's just PTSD now. As soon as it comes on, as soon as someone puts that down on the table in front of me, I just crumble.
Just play Julian too often.
Yeah, because I just had so many bad experiences. I can remember the first time that I played against an avatar, and it was against Julian, and
He's a good player.
like it's ingrained in my memory. Like I seriously think I have PTSD from that game.
Nice.
Because I was playing ISS. We were on this table at House of War that was a beautiful table, but it had like rolling hills on it, and it was really hard to actually place your miniatures down. So like I was facing an avatar, I was trying to move my models, but I kept falling over. It was
Foreshadowing.
It was a horrible time. But in terms of if like the question kind of it also talks about like profile releases? Are we talking about?
Yeah, it's like sectorial profile or updated this year.
I mean, do we have? Do we have? Does a question ask about miniatures, or do we have a question later on?
The question's right there, Nick.
We do have one later. We have one later on. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't need to talk about miniatures right now.
Nah,
okay, that was what I was getting at. Do I want to talk about miniatures now or later? I'll talk about that. Sure, that's fine.
Later.
Kev.
So profile wise, probably the general Hack Islam update. Actually, just before, I can't remember if it happened before Blackwind or not, but especially the Namur. The Namur was a great profile, but now it got real good, and people are now starting to take her, which is great. So that's really good to see. And then yeah. Actually, no, wait. Sorry, I did actually ask about the model there too, but I can't remember if there was another.
There's heaps of questions, yeah.
Is there a question later on about it?
I'm sure there's aesthetic questions. There's which model army got you into infinity next?
No. Let's just ask. Let's just do it now because I don't actually think there's a question about it later on. There's questions about aesthetics, but nothing about this year. So I'll just finish off my thought bubble because I did write it there.
Sure.
Model wise, my favorite models of the year were the Noctifer and the Derpy as fuck Fuzzbots because they're like aliens. Like the little the new evil hacker is like the thing that comes up, and of course the Shikami that got released.
The Shikami is such an easy answer, isn't it?
I know. I'm getting really jealous. I've been seeing other people like getting them on Facebook. Like they paid the $50 to buy it, and I'm like, I'm jealous, but also fuck, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, really? I've got one coming. Yeah.
I've actually been pretty disappointed with the miniature releases this year. I don't think there's been that many standouts. In terms of sculpts, I thought the what's the LF tag? The
Marut.
Oh yeah,
I thought the Marut was really nice. I thought it was a really sexy tag. But for me, the one by a long shot, the biggest standout of all the miniature releases for the whole year, right? As in like leagues ahead of everything else, is the ITS objective pack.
Oh yes, yeah. I was gonna say the same thing. Actually, that's great. Because I haven't got it in my hands yet. That's great.
Some of those you've started to see some in the wild as well. People started to paint them up. I'm like, oh, these things are really nice. I'm absolutely getting some.
No, that's very good.
And it's just they're just great, right? There's so many in there. There's a whole pack of all different kinds of things, antennas and
it's a matter of practicality. What can I say?
It's gorgeous.
I was gonna say, so the Kaitok for me, the Morat Kaitok, the guy with the multiple guns, that was just fucking cool. I was just like, oh my god, he's got 4 arms, he's badass, and he's a great profile as well. I think he's really nice. To be fair though, the Rat to Rack, the guy with the with the whole vest,
tubes.
I love that one. It's there's some really good Morat stuff. I really enjoyed that. For me for this year.
Nick, I was going to ask you, didn't you like the Longya that got released this year in January?
I didn't think we were going to have to talk about that. I mean, I think I've complained about that model more than anything else I've ever spoken about in my entire life. You could do a supercut of probably an hour long of me talking at length on the pod about how I don't like the Longya model. I use them every single game, every time I can. I use them all the time. It's an amazing profile, but I do not like the sculpt one bit.
What do you use for them instead?
I've used the old. I usually just use the old remote S3 Yujing remotes, and I put I've got a camo token, like a 25mm token, and I just put it on top. So I'll put the remote on the table and just put the camera marker on top of it.
Do you remember? There's some really like subtle models that went under the radar because like they weren't. There was the Monk. I think was that this year. Early this year. Yeah. So that new Monk was just beautiful. It's a really nice one. The Malignos Hacker I think was pretty good as well from memory.
It was.
The blue
Kitsune.
Kitsune.
The coats look great.
Yeah, there's. Yep. I'm just having a look now as well. Helen of Troy. She was awesome.
If you're a simp.
Yeah. The
Chernabog.
Yeah, the Chernabog.
Yeah.
I mean, next, like,
It
no,
looks. I mean,
not that
it's
great.
it's
Oh,
not
what about
it's
the
not
car who
it's not a bad model, but I'm just like,
What
it's,
about
it's fine.
like-
But it's not a standout. Is it
It was
close to
more
the
because it
objective
was Ariana's
packs?
first.
No way.
What about the car? What is the car who? The one with the car
Yeah,
who with
the
the
car who looked good.
that was all with the fuse with the full bar. That thing is just like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
badass.
That
Like it's like a strong 4.5. It's like not a 5, so like we've skipped over it. But that's a great model, and it's got like the one eye thing and like the square. It's just there's some really good models.
what does it things look like on
Where?
the inside of that helmet?
It's just the face, right? But the script,
Like if you're wearing a helmet that's got
yeah. It'd be like it'd just
like
be like
a
a iPad.
cyclopean
Yeah.
single eye on the front of
Oh,
it. Have you, what you just
I
got like
suspect
a
it'd be 2 screens, so it'd be like one screen for like information, but then when you need to shoot, that screen probably goes away, and then you got that eye thing doing the zoom for you. I
okay.
suspect.
And Tibidian Bolt says the Karhu is a bear helmet, which makes sense because I think Karhu is like bear and no Russian or something. Just fucking
Karhu.
Scandinavian.
Maybe it's kind of
language.
Russian is Midviet. I'm pretty
Say that again.
Midviet, or maybe that's like an old
Midviet?
way. Yeah, I think that's an old way of saying bear. I think.
Okay.
So anyway, but yeah, and obviously there's the new model, like some of the Syriats, they're pretty cool. Corner
Finnish.
Syriats are great.
Yeah, they're great. Exactly.
Finnish, apparently,
Like the Vikings.
as in Finland.
Yeah, Finnish.
So I was when I said
okay.
Scandinavian, I was close.
You were very close.
You were close.
And McMurray, he's great as well. Not that we've seen him in our hands yet, but
I had a real fun time when that McMorrow sculpt came out. Wait, is it out yet? Is it
it's not
it's a
out yet.
December
It
release?
was December release.
Okay,
so we've
so it
only
does
seen
fit into
photos.
this year.
Yes,
because the announcement that's just been made of like the January February releases, that War Driver is schmick as. I'm already calling the War Driver as top 10
Top 10
minis
next
for,
year.
for
Okay,
2023. Right, I love that War Driver. He's super cool.
It is good.
Oh, one model that I did like actually was which was a resculpt of Valeria Gromos.
Yes.
Mm.
Good one.
The model is nice, but I just think it's such a massive improvement from the previous sculpt, who was like doing her like thought squat sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas this is much more practical.
Yeah, that's right. She's grown up. She was 18 back then. Now she's
That's right.
25.
she's got a sword. Yeah, that's a
For
good
no
point.
reason. Oh, okay, yeah. Now that you mention that, having close combat orientated weapons on models that are not close combat models, come on, guys.
They can still beat up like a peasant. Like they could beat up a HVT with a close combat, right?
She's a hacker,
That's enough.
right?
Yeah, but she could.
Why doesn't she have
Yeah,
like
exactly. She hacks things. She
give her a
hacks things.
laptop or
Yeah.
something?
That's
Oh,
the-
I get it.
that's the
Hacking
sword is the
with
new-
a sword.
Yeah,
the sword is the
Yeah.
new hacking device.
Yeah, so instead of comparing their close combat weapons against like other like fighter models, compare them against HVTs, and they can beat up HVTs with their weapons. That's why it's
Yeah.
So anyway, favorite sectorial. Oh no, sorry. Which model army got you into Infinity?
For me, it was Yujing. There's the Sujan as a concept. I absolutely, as soon as I saw that box, it was one of my very first purchases. And like the fact that you pick up the box, it's got the 2 models on there. It's got the combat mode and the mobility mode, and it's like this. Whenever you want, just transform into that other model. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that as a concept, I love both of those models.
And
as
then you're
well.
like, fuck, this is great on the table as well.
Oh,
right?
yeah, the fact that like it was, I used that so much when I was
Yeah, fine.
new to Infinity, my first sort of 2 years. I rarely made an army that did not have a Sujan in it.
That's incredible. That's actually I'll really make an army with a Sujan. But anyway, yeah, go.
The other model, which was one of the first, because the first box that I got was Operation Red Veil,
Nice.
and the terracotta soldier in that, who's holding his gun downwards and he's got the fingers up in the air. It's just, yeah, it's just how dynamic that pose is, and there's been a few that have been comparable in how dynamic that they are, but there's none that have stood out to me as much as this guy is not just standing there shooting something. This guy's on a battlefield, signaling to his
buddies.
compatriots, talking like doing
Dealing-
something that would happen on a battlefield that is not just shooting something.
Dealing with a situation, yeah, absolutely.
Like it really, that model to me tells a story.
No, that's true. Yeah, okay, I get that. Kev,
That buzz is coming through again, Kev. If you want to
I don't know what.
just stop doing whatever you're doing.
Oh, I thought I muted myself. No.
Nah, we heard that. No, we heard that all. That was good. It's fine.
Sorry. Sorry, I was muting myself on my microphone, but clearly it doesn't work. I'll have to do it on Discord.
Okay.
That would have been embarrassing. Anyway, that's fine. I was just trying to eat my dinner. What was I saying?
You weren't saying anything
You
yet.
were just chewing with your mouth open.
Okay.
Which model army got you into Infinity? I think you've got Nancy here.
Yes, I do. I have Al Jabel specifically. So I was getting into Infinity, and I was being shown all the armies, and I was being shown Ariadna, and I was like, "Ooh, Celts." Nope. Then I was being shown like Pano, and I was like, "Oh, two blue." Then I was shown Yu Jing. Don't want to say too yellow, but like it was too. They're too big.
Too yellow, but like the color, not being racist.
Yeah. I realized what I was saying as I was saying it. And then they were like, "Oh yeah, Hack Islam. Oh yeah, they're the healing faction, but they also have assassins." And I was like, "All right, cool. What do they look like?" And the first thing I saw was brought up on my phone was a picture of Al Jabel. I was like, "What's this green glowing thing?" And I was like, I'm in. I don't know what it is, but I want it.
I want it.
I want to stab people with my green claw. And that's basically where it started. Yeah.
There you go. Your first.
I think it was like the first model I bought after. I think I might have bought some Gulams, and then I bought Al Jabel, and I was like, right, what do I do with this guy? How do I apply him?
Yeah,
and, that's never. I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, it's pretty funky, isn't he? Yeah, Nick's just having a
I'll
look.
just bring it up on my phone to have a look. Honestly, it's not a model I've ever taken a good look at. So
he gets one order on the table and then the rest on the marker. Yeah, I don't know that I got dragged in by miniatures. I think we were playing an N2 or N1 even when I was N2 when I was dragged in, and the models were pretty fugly. And we were just coming back. We were coming off playing Confrontation. Have I spread the good word of Confrontation in Eldorado yet? Okay, anyway. But basically, yeah. So we were none of the miniatures jumped out. But the faction that got me is maybe a Haq Islam and then the Rajik. I think the Rajik was quite good back then. I think the Rajik was a cool looking model. So that kind of drew me in, and then probably for days as well. So yeah, two for Haq Islam, one for Yujing.
cool.
What do we got?
Oh, here we go. From
Biscus.
Biscus asks, when will the spiritual rematch of White Noise versus Lost Lieutenant happen? I.e., Whip 12 versus LOL. Mate,
I reckon we punch down first, and we take on the guys from Canada.
punch down.
Well, yeah, they're brand new podcasts, right? We can punch down.
What you mean, Ash and
I've seen their battle reports. They get the rules are wrong. We can smash them.
I don't know if they play on TTS,
Well, that's good for them.
but
It's a good thing for them.
yeah, I mean,
Embarrassing. No, sorry, just
look, anytime, any place, you name the car park, I'll be there to fight.
That's it. Oh, I think we've given away what you'd be taking, Sujan and Sujan.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm honestly sort of between armies at the moment. I just don't know what I want to be playing right now. So,
you and me both.
it's a bit like that. But we'll happily
It's just hard. It's so hard for me to play TTS these days after the pandemic because it's just one PTSD, two it's like, oh, I don't want to sit here for like 3 hours and on my laptop.
Where are those guys based?
White Noise.
Whip 12.
Oh, Whip 12. Sorry. They're mainly American, Europe.
All over. Yeah, you got like Europe,
There's three hosts.
UK, America, Canada, North America.
Yeah,
I think there's three hosts.
Okay,
I did an episode
maybe...
on there, by the way. By the way, listeners, there's a more episode done by yours truly on the old website. Yeah, that's right. I talked about more.
Where he just really pushes the 4-man Morat link, and you can tell that Raymond's like,
okay.
To be fair, the only reason Raymond posted that episode because he has won like maybe 1 or 2 games with Morat, so he really struggled with him. So yeah, he was like, I'll just take anyone at this point. Like, I can't talk about them, so I'll take anyone. But yeah, I did an episode on the old Whip 12.
Yeah.
I'd love to do it, but just time's hard, and especially the next couple of months.
What we need more Patreons.
Oh, jeez. Do we need more patrons?
We do.
Okay, sure. We need
So
more
then-
patrons.
So then we can
The
just
more patrons,
use,
the more responsibility
we can
have.
use the those big Patreon bucks, and we'll all just fly over.
I like it. We could all attend.
Or
Imagine
do
a flight.
We'll do a GoFundMe.
So we all fly to Interplanetaria. Oh my god, that would be
Whip
episode.
12 versus LOL at Interplanetary.
What if we fly all the members of Whip 12 over for CanCon?
No,
Instead.
mate. Burn City Brawls, where it's at.
Oh, BCB, yeah, no, yeah, fuck CanCon.
Bit biased, but yeah, sure, go on. I think Interplanetaria is like a pretty big event.
Fly them. I mean, you're right. Interplanetaria would probably be more central in some ways.
I'd
but
prefer to go to
nothing
Spain.
Central.
If we're talking about the made up scenario where we have money to fly people to places, I'm going to Spain.
I am certainly with you. That'd be awesome. Well, Kev's just been there, right? So it's only a fair if we get to go as well.
Sure.
That would be-
Yeah, we can all just fly over to Vigo and we can play in Interplanetario, and then we'll make sure that
that would
guys
be so
at Whip
cool.
12 do that, and then we all grudge each other for round one.
So
I
if-
imagine
so
we just get drawn against each other.
if every single person who plays Infinity becomes a Patreon,
It's not unreasonable.
Yep.
then we could do
Wait.
it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Easy.
Consider this. Consider the gauntlet. The glove hath been thrown,
Yeah.
and
If the patrons want to see this death match, they have to pay for it. Simple as that. It's like pay-per-views, but like for nerds. But then the next question is obviously ties right into the whole TTS
So this,
business.
yeah, this comes from Ash from Gorilla Miniature Games.
Those guys will be punching out.
What's your take on tabletop simulator experts versus Meat Space Infinity? Does it translate into in-person skill?
I can answer this. I'm going to answer this. So I think absolutely. TTS is a fantastic tool for honing your skills, knowledge and interaction, familiarity, right? So you get all those three things from playing on TTS. Basically, and I've played players who play online and they've definitely improved from their experiences. And furthermore, there's evidence in other games that suggest playing online does translate. So for example, think back to the hardcore days of Warmer Hordes when people played on something called Vassal. Or whatever it was called.
Vassal.
And then there was and they also played Malifaux, and that translated. They just got reps. They got the familiarity. And furthermore, Blood Bowl, same thing with Blood Bowl players. Are playing Blood Bowl 2 on like the Steam or Fumble. All of it translates. So it's absolutely. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say. No.
Yeah, I've got it all. You can have some of this if you want. Here, have this one.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah, easy. Sweet. Thanks. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I
you're
just
good.
drank all of Val's wine.
No, it's your one. I brought it here. But yeah, anyway, that's my answer. So I think yes, absolutely, it does.
I'm gonna chide a few people and say that the tabletop simulator hate that you see out there, it has to stop. Right? It's not on. Tabletop simulator is a legitimate way to play the game.
Absolutely.
It's been recognized by CB, right? It's a fucking satellite. There's going to be a satellite tabletop simulator, which is
great.
phenomenal.
It's great. Yeah. And it should give CB so much confidence in the fact that they're sitting on a perfect video game when they get like the right developer.
And the TTS mod for Infinity is amazing.
Oh yeah.
The miniatures, the way that they've put all of like the studio paint jobs onto the little things on the
and custom
game.
and people's paint jobs as well.
And how you can customize them yourself as well if you want to. I think that it does take longer to play a game on Tabletop Simulator, but I think the only reason for that is just your familiarity with the platform.
Yep.
I think the more you play it, you do get quicker. And the fact that you can try things out, you can play any faction you want, you can play any list that you want. Doesn't matter what miniatures you've got because you just click through to build up your army. I think it's a fantastic platform, and more power to them. I think the guys that run the TTS leagues do an amazing job.
Absolutely.
and
So-
should be given more respect for
Big
that.
props to Head Chime and Baller C for really kicking that scene off. No, it's true. No, genuinely, he had a massive part to play in yes, bring that to bear. He was the one who scanned in all the or developed the system to scan in 3D models. And him and Head Chime have started a lot of it. So yeah, big props to them, and then everyone else involved since.
Yeah, and I can respect that from a prospecting standpoint, and like the fact that he's been not prospecting, a
Founding.
like forging that path, right? I do not agree with a lot of Vol's thinking. I don't agree with a lot of this,
Yeah,
the
but-
way he runs his
Sure.
his
Yeah,
TTS
I
tournaments.
feel-
I don't
yeah.
agree with that as well at all. The way how he
Change the rules.
changes the
He
rules
tried-
and,
yeah,
and,
tried
and,
new
that
things.
type of stuff to suit the way that he thinks the game should exist.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, but can definitely respect the
founding
path that he
stone.
has forged.
Absolutely. Kev, any thoughts on this one? TTS versus in meat space.
Yeah. First of all, before I just got into it, am I coming through as some background at the moment, or
It seems
am I
okay.
sounding okay?
Seems okay.
Seems good.
Okay, yeah, just that my
connected.
the
Stuff
lines
around.
around the border of my face has got green on it the whole time, even when I'm not talking. So I'm just a bit confused as to where that's coming from.
Nah, it's coming good. So you're good.
Oh, all right. Yeah, the only thing I'd say about TTS is it has created its own little microcosm of players. So it has.
Strong opinion.
What it's done is it's brought Infinity out into the world in a way that it hasn't not done before. Most before the pandemic, it was just you were playing in your local area, you're playing in your nation, and you heard about how things were being played in other parts of the world. Now it's actually there in front of you, and you can see it, and you can touch it, you can play it, and then also there's a lot more bookkeeping going on of like how people are doing. The IGL leagues are regular enough that anyone online can just go on and watch it and see the results from it. So I
watch
think
the game as well.
has made the world smaller, and I think that maybe that has just, I wouldn't say rubbed people up the wrong way, but it's been a step change. In some ways, the IGL and TS play has become very big and very big voice in the Infinity community, and I think that has just a bit of an adjustment for people who are used to playing in their local community or their nation, like Australia or Europe or North America. It's just opened the doors to that, and I think it's just a new way of playing, and I think we have all kind of gone around it now. It's not a flash in the pan. It's very competitive. Very good players play it on and offline. It's not just like a bunch of incels playing online by themselves. Like it's very much not that.
But
And I don't think it ever was that.
we know that the people who consistently rank highly in the IGL leagues
Very good.
are also very good players IRL, right? I'm not saying that all of them are, but as a general rule,
Yeah, absolutely.
the people who
They
are
know the
good
game.
on TTS are also good in
absolutely.
in meat space.
Yep. For sure.
So,
Touching on what Kevin was saying, the sheer number of games, sheer number of consistent competitive events being played by high level players is bringing Infinity a step closer to being solved than maybe previously. Not solved, but like or I guess the discussion is leaning towards like Infinity being solved, quote unquote. Because a lot more people are referring to these like high level games and these final games saying, look at this guy, he runs this nomad list, everyone runs the same nomad list now, so nomads are solved. It's not true.
Yeah,
I don't believe it. You're stupid. Get off our podcast. But sorry, it's really hard.
Oh, I kind of believe it. I kind of
believe
believe the nomad thing though. Like the nomad thing is very much like I see every fucking list on nomads is exactly the same.
well,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah,
no.
that way.
But can I just say that this nomads list, right, with 20 bodies in it or 25 bodies or whatever you can fit in.
No. It's not that. It's just like when you look at it, you see it's the same. It's like it's Puppet Master, Salamandra, two Morans, Jazz Billy, a Missile Bot, a Heckler, a couple of Morlocks, 2 Moderators, and something else. That's basically the same list every time. Wait, sorry, I don't want to get into that.
But why is it that that list is so prevalent in TTS but not in
It probably is
in
person.
Well,
person?
it probably is. It probably is.
That's the thing. It probably is, and it's probably a strong list, but it's not the only way to play Nomads. Nor does it guarantee you victory. It's a strong list, no doubt, but you can get strong lists for any faction, right? But it doesn't mean that's the only way to play the faction.
We're not talking about it being strong or not. We're just talking about it being
prevalent.
Prevalent, and because up until now, I think a lot of people were had the assumption of Infinity where it's not it's not your list, it's you. But now that we're on TTS and we're seeing a lot of lists online being posted, you are starting to go, oh well, actually there is a lot of lists that are quite similar.
There's a lot of lists that will help new players still be strong. But I think that's always been the case. But the thing is, a new player with that list isn't going to be an experienced player necessarily. I think so.
No, I mean that's still true in Infinity, and I'm not saying that it's gonna. I'm not coming at it from the point of view of this list is OP, too strong, needs please nerf. It's this list is boring. I keep seeing it.
Yep.
Please, can you make it different? Yep. And when I say different, I don't mean like 80% the same. I mean like significantly different. And I'm even seeing that starting to come through in Hack Islam lists as well, especially the ones that do well. Combined army lists, only when they're running an avatar, to be fair. Not so much when you're running other stuff, because there's so much good shit out there. Although I will say maybe I might want to be blaming Rob a little bit for running a Chorontid and a Thematic, because I'm seeing a lot of them online too.
Yep.
But then again, I also don't live online, so I don't see things. So I am also
that's the other thing.
I also will accept that I'm probably not seeing the whole picture. I'm just sort of maybe picking what I want to see.
And
as well.
Our opinions on this is very much from the outside looking in. I'm not sure if any of us have really heavily participated in any of the TTS stuff.
Not since lockdown.
Since lockdown's finished.
No.
I know I haven't. I mean, I might like to in the future, maybe, because I do like it as an avenue. I like the concept. I like the idea of being able to play online as opposed to having to leave the house, particularly as a parent, right?
Yeah.
It's easier for me to stay at home.
I can vouch for that. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean that's totally.
Val got to experience dad life this evening at my house by helping out with the wind down proceedings and bedtime, which I'm sure was a new experience for you, Val.
It was really fun, actually. It was really cute and fun, but as a novelty
I was gonna say, Val, do you want kids?
Yeah. They're very cute, I must say, but as a novelty.
You want one of them? No, I've got too many.
So, I think that's illegal to sell kids online. Thankfully. Anyway, should we?
I'm not selling them. Can you just give them away?
Okay,
Is that right?
Should we move on to Moitek's questions?
Oh, sorry. What before we did drop bear virus, as he's also known as, has said in real life is restricted by terrain, budget, and storage space as well. So yeah, of course, like
that's something that I wanted to mention. That Tabletop Simulator. Oh, sorry, Kev, you still talking?
No, you can go ahead.
Yeah, TTS maps, right? They're vastly different from the maps you experience in real life. Because when you're, as a map creator on Tabletop Simulator, you can do whatever you want. You can do these crazy multi-level sort of cave systems and whatnot. Not that people play on those seriously to a great extent, but this could have changed in more recent times because I haven't been active on TTS in quite a while. But back when I was playing quite a bit on TTS, when we had our lockdowns here in Melbourne, the maps that I was playing on all seemed very dense because it's really easy to just click and put a building there. It's thousands of times more difficult to get a piece of MDF, build that, prime it, paint it, make it suitable to go onto a table.
I'm playing interiors a lot easier on TTS. I think Josh as well is saying that It's much better. I think I don't know if he's talking about the podcast or if he's talking.
He's talking about my
Yeah.
voice. He's talking about my
I
voice.
talking about your voice. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he's also saying something about TTS. In the...
Sure, that they all use like XCOM 2 assets, whereas where each building
have they ported?
no, but like it's similar to like the procedural generation of maps in XCOM 2, where everything looks the same,
Gotcha.
right? Whereas when you're playing in real life, it's all hand done.
Yeah,
I mean,
all
it's the CB stuff, but even then, you set it up in unique, different ways every single time. But on a table that's been created by an individual, they've put their effort into that to make it their own. It's unique. It's its own thing.
Yes.
Whereas tabletop simulator maps is not like that.
Yeah.
It's I don't want, they're not carbon copies of each other, but it looks, because of the way that it's made and the way that when you make a table, you're not making the individual buildings, you're pre-selecting buildings that have already been populated. And doing it that way means that the maps that you get do have the same feel about them, the same vibe, I would say.
Well, there's a lot of people who make their own stuff as well, though, so we can't say that categorically for every table you play on. There's a lot of people content creators who make new shit up all the time. But I mean, I haven't used it in like over a year, so I can't speak for it.
Oh, really? They copied some XCOM maps around to TTS. That's pretty cool. Well, I'd probably lose on those maps because I started XCOM. So anyway, the next question is a personal attack more than a question. But if
Mortiak.
one of you want to read that?
Okay, here we go. Did Val ever figure out how Frenzy and Fire teams work? Or is it on par with Tempo and other things that you don't want people to know? Okay, you've used the term Tempo, you're banned. Val, would you like to address the first part of the question?
Can we check if he's a Patreon? Otherwise, I'm skipping this question.
He's not.
That's fine.
Does that mean you don't have to answer the question?
No. Look, the humble answer is I'm still learning, and every game is an opportunity to learn. Every experience is an opportunity to learn, and I will one day find Nirvana. However, the question I want to give you is, fuck you, man. You never got a rule wrong? What's your problem, man?
Well, I mean, like it's also worse as well because the FAQ just answered that question for you.
It did. No, absolutely. Yeah. No, Frenzy's actually much better now in fire teams. I think that's great.
Well, so a question that Val had in real life had been frequently asked. Is that what we're saying?
That's right. I'm not alone. That's right.
Wow.
That's right. Everyone gets arrested.
Yeah, except you weren't asking it. You were just playing it wrong.
Oh. Thanks, Kevin. Okay.
No problem.
So Nick's having OCD.
All right. So we go next on. So we got one from Headchime. He has an interesting theoretical.
Anyway, I haven't published back in.
No, maybe he doesn't listen to the show. He's an interesting theoretical. As a tournament player, how would you feel emotionally if it turned out that your chosen tournament faction was massively and inappropriately overtuned?
I think it's really difficult to answer this question because I don't feel that Infinity has ever.
Infinity's perfectly balanced.
No, I didn't say
perfectly balanced.
I didn't say that.
He did say that. I didn't say that.
But it's Infinity is Infinity is as close to balance as any game I've ever seriously played.
You should get really close to that mic, Val, and just keep saying those words.
Yeah,
Perfectly balanced.
Yeah, everyone in Geelong fucking hates me because I keep saying that, but it's true. No, but you're right, Nick. Like when a game is determined by what you did rather than what you rolled, that's as close to perfectly balanced. If you walk away from a game saying I should have done this and this would have probably led to a different outcome, that's all you can ask for from a game.
So many war games out there are won at a strategic level, right? And when I say strategic, I include army building into what strategy means. Mm-hmm. Infinity is a tactical game, right? You win Infinity based on the orders that you spend and how you spend them.
And the tempo you say.
No, we need more hot takes. There needs to be more hot takes here. This is he's clearly like making a go at like combined army, right? This is where the questions originated from.
Give us your hot take then, Kev.
Like it's not a theoretical. It's essentially like, how would you feel if you were a combined army player and you woke up tomorrow and realized that your net rolls now costed 2 points more than it did yesterday, your tagas were slower and more expensive, and your avatar was like 12 points more expensive? How would you feel emotionally?
You should be like,
And
That's a good point.
you should feel okay. It's been a pretty good run so far. I'll deal with this.
I would, as someone who comes from a place of um it's a psychological question, right? Because nobody wants their toys to be taken away from them. Nobody likes the idea of being worse off. It's, tax all over again, right? No one wants to pay tax, but everyone wants services. So it's that balance of like,
Exactly.
don't tax me more money, but also I can't pay for my broken leg. So
Yeah.
if you have to take a hit for the good of the game, then it's a hard emotional thing for some people to get over, because a lot of people come from the point of view of like, there's nothing wrong with my army. My army is perfectly balanced.
I disagree with that.
I have no
utilitarian
problem
thinking.
having a 6 point taiga that's just that's just better than a gaki. What's your problem? And then everyone else is like, come on, dude.
Come on, dude. You're that guy.
And I think it's hard. I think it's hard. I think it is hard for people to come. And I'm using combined army as an example. There are other examples, but um,
I don't think
me
there. I don't think
personally,
there are any examples because this is a theoretical. Because once again, we've just mentioned that Infinity is perfectly
he
balanced.
says it's a he says it's a theoretical, but I think he's poking at combined army. I think again it's just the different players. I like to always think that it's like when I'm trying to think of an example, like when jammers became disposable too, and they broke the Gazis out into like different profiles.
Yes.
Now some people might have gone, why did they do this to my Gazis? I'm so used to having the 5 point like do everything Gazi. And yes,
Players.
on
Right.
paper it is absolutely a nerf. It's absolutely worse. But you'd have to be a fucking sociopath to believe that the change wasn't good for the game.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's where it comes down to is like, are you a sociopath?
Yeah.
Question mark.
Well, to be honest, I
Because
think
that'll depend.
I think the thing is if your army is overtuned, it depends what you're looking to get from the tournament. If you're looking to go have a good time and have challenging games, maybe you'll probably, if you're aware that it's overtuned, you probably would do something differently, or you might feel a bit bad, or you might not take the optimal profiles. But if you're there if you're looking to win from a tournament and get that, and that's the satisfaction you get out of tournaments, you probably play the overpowered stuff, and you probably won't feel bad because it's not your responsibility to balance, to self-manage and balance the game. It's up to the developers. And
But
that's where
but on that, Infinity doesn't have that problem.
it doesn't.
Infinity,
Absolutely
I
doesn't.
don't. What?
Yeah, it doesn't.
I agree.
Absolutely, I
Agreed.
agree. Yeah, we
But
agree.
Infinity doesn't have that problem. Like Infinity has a very slight problem in that, as we saw in the tournament stats, that combined army is not only the most popular faction, it's also it has the most amount of wins. So that is a slight indication that there is popularity, and it's not only popular, is it popular because it's good, or is it good because it's popular? Is kind of that question.
Yeah, getcha.
Where in other games, like, I don't know, Warhammer, I guess, is a great example. Is it's the new hotness that is doing all of the winning, whereas Infinity doesn't really have that problem. And I think a lot of players will take an army that fits their personality, their play style, and make it work to the best of their abilities. And they all have ceilings, but they're all fairly balanced in that way. So when we say something's overtuned and it needs a nerf, it's not like we're smacking it with a big bat. We're just kind of like, calmly pushing it back down a bit.
Yeah.
We're not, it's not as extreme as maybe some people might think it is, or it is in other games.
Yeah. I think CB handled the balancing quite well. The second part of the question, actually, we didn't read this. And by massively overtuned, HI meant consistent, highly above average performances across every level of play.
Would you care? Would
Oh.
you shrug?
Yeah, would you care? Would you shrug? I certainly care. These situations are cancerous to games. Well, that's not actually true, I wrote, because a very successful gaming franchise actually has a business model based around this. But as a player, I would care, and I wouldn't like to see it.
But sorry, what would you like to see?
So if there's a high performing, consistently winning, performing above average faction,
Yeah, but the question is related to like if that. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
and the second part,
If it turned out that they were over shit.
yeah. So let's read. I'll read the question
okay.
properly. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't think we need to address this one further. We've gone on.
Yeah, we've gone on long enough.
For a bit.
Yep,
on this
fair
one.
enough. We'll go to Hoppy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice for her to write in. Isn't she the one who does?
Do you want to read the question then? No. That's who you're thinking of.
That's awkward.
That's different person.
We're not that famous. Carlos Bostria is not sending us love letters.
Bostria hasn't sent us much love recently. Is he in the?
He's got Ash now.
Is he in the audience?
No, he's got Ash now. Him and Ash are running away into the sunset.
Do you guys remember when we had our 50th episode celebration and Bostria came on and had a chat? Wasn't that special?
Yeah, where is Bostria these days?
Yeah.
Well,
I need to send him some more.
he even avoided Kevin. He took the day off away from Kevin.
Yeah, when Kevin was there, didn't even see him.
He took the day off. He's like, "Oh, I'm sick today."
He wasn't there.
No.
Okay. Well, yeah. Sorry. Hoppy asks, favorite looking heavy infantry, light infantry, specialist, and warband. Just considering looks, not stats. Okay. So HI, LI, specialist, and warband. So let's keep it broad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What do you guys think?
You know what model?
All right, I'll go first.
Were we supposed
Yes.
to come up with an answer for each category, or is
No,
this just
I
as a
think it's
whole?
just choose one.
Yes.
'Cause I didn't pick one for each. Okay. Okay.
I mean, well, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I did one for each of those things, so that's what she asked.
Yeah,
He,
sweet,
they,
go for it.
they,
Yep.
he,
Right.
them. They asked.
It.
Don't say it. So my favorite HI model wise is a Mobile Brigada, specifically the Mobile Brigada HMG.
Nice.
It's just like a chunky S2 model that looks real good. It looks great painted. I really enjoy it. Light infantry, I'm gonna have to change the parameters of it a bit because Tariq is light infantry. So I'm just gonna
You
go.
motherfucker.
What play,
So I'm
Kevin?
just gonna
It's
go
light
light
infantry.
light-
It's light infantry. It's the category that he falls
I know,
into.
but it's such a big. It's so big. Like the Unknown Ranger is light infantry. So I'm going to just do line infantry because otherwise it's just too much. So for them, it's Securitate
Cheer killers.
because they're like the guys in the suits with the
I love like
tuxedos
the
and the
little ties. Oh,
yeah,
I love them.
Yeah, it's good.
they're great. The guy with the
Actually, that
foreback
reminds
looks
me.
great. They all look great.
I bought a couple of Securitate on Marketplace not long ago, and I've got them sitting in my drawer, and I completely forgot about them until you just messaged them. So
There you go. And you can use them as CSUs this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then specialists, I actually forgot to add specialists, so I'm just gonna be real. I'm gonna do a bit of a deep cut, well, potentially, and the humble Hawa hacker. Because that is it. Some people think that's a fugly model, but I love the mask and the purple hair, and it's also one of the things that drew me into Infinity because I was like, "What is this?
It is a good one.
Why does it look so weird?" So him, them, and then warband wise Tigers because they look dope. Probably the best looking. They're so cool.
They're so ugly.
They're so cool.
No.
Love them. Yes, that's mine.
I'll quickly go. Heavy infantry has to be the Shen multi-rifle. I didn't realize we're doing one for each, but so I'll make up on the spot. Closely specialist would be the Challange hacker because he was following very closely to the Shen in my thing, but I'll just throw him in the specialist profile. The Challange hacker, I think, is sick. I love that model. It's really.
That's a cool looking model, actually.
Really.
Wait,
really
the new one, not the old?
the new one. The new one.
Oh.
Yeah, not the old one. Warbands. Ooh, warbands are a hard one. Warbands. Oh, actually, the Nomad Morlocks. They're pretty cool. They're flavorful.
Well, the Suicide Squad ones?
Yeah, the Suicide Squad one. I think that was a clever thing to do. I think that was pretty cool. Light infantry is the Eugene thing. That's not the Eugene. No, he's heavy infantry. Jesus. The high. The Mutism 6 Monoformer blade, the dude that nobody uses in the midfield.
He's heavy infantry.
Hundun, yeah, not Hundun.
With the
yeah,
skull mask.
yeah, I love that.
You're thinking the Hulang. The
Hulang,
Hulang's
yeah,
heavy
that's
infantry.
cool. That's a cool model. But yeah, that's a heavy infantry. Light infantry. I'm panicking. Somebody help.
Fusiliers.
I mean, they have berets, and berets are cool.
Berets are
So-
cool.
And the new ones have got hoods, right? Because they're
Yeah,
winter.
that's right. Yeah, little winter coat.
They
Net
do
rods.
have winter coats.
Josh just
Great.
says net rods.
Net rods.
are great.
Then Rems
Oh,
are
yeah.
they? Are they light infantry?
Yeah.
Either way,
No, they're not
I don't
Rem.
know about light infantry off the top of my head. I'm on the spot. I'll think of it
That's
as we
right.
talk.
Okay, so I didn't prepare enough answers for this one, but I'm just gonna wing it. So heavy infantry, the one that I spoke about before, the Tiger Soldier doing this,
Duchamp?
doing
Oh,
his
him? Yeah,
his little finger thing. Love that model. Light infantry is, I'm gonna say, the Ariadne Spec Ops. The girl with like the haircut with the like shaved sides and the hair goes like
Yep,
this,
yep.
just, like holds the gun up with the knife. I love that model. So I
That's a really
well, I
niche pick.
painted that model, and it's like that model that I painted. I put more time into that model than I've put in any other model.
Okay, so you're the
And
version.
but then I sold.
Yeah, I know.
I sold that entire army, and then I bought the model again. So I'm gonna paint it again. I'm gonna do a better job this time. I
Fair
love that model.
Yeah.
Specialists. The what's the guy in ISS who has Hollow?
Ken Ren. Yeah, he's
Canran, the
great.
the
I
Canran,
love
Oh.
that. That's a good pick.
the
Which
old
one?
Canran
Which
model.
one, though?
The one that's pointing
With the
at
Yeah,
gun.
okay, I agree.
Because
Yeah, he's cool.
I
He
I
is
love
think
very
light
cool.
infantry.
I also think he looks like George Clooney.
He's mad.
Mm.
Yeah, he's really.
I love that
really good.
model. And
He's excellent.
then
I didn't think
Warband
of that.
is
Yeah.
going to be the Varangian Guard, the one that's holding the two-handed axe.
That's it.
Oh,
That's
the first one that came out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
not
very
the one with the trench hammer. I think that one looks dumb. I don't like
He's
that.
very good. But
But the
my
one that's
father
got it's like a Scottish-looking guy with like a beard and the hair and that two-handed axe.
Yeah,
with,
it's
like, there's like
a cool
runes.
model.
There's
Yeah,
like runes on the
I'd
front of
pay
the
that
axe
one.
as well. I love that model.
very, very good. No, absolutely. No, that's a good answer.
All right.
Off
Well,
the
guys,
top of the
All
dome,
right,
that was
Val,
pretty good.
you've got a question.
mate. Well, I was thinking, boys, we might have a little 5 or 10 minute break.
Yeah, sure.
Because we've
Yeah.
been going
Oh,
for a
sure,
little
yeah.
while.
Do we?
let's
Should
do
we
that.
do
Now
what
and
this last question first,
then,
and
we
then
can go
and
through
then,
this one, then we'll have ourselves a little
and
break.
that
How's
way.
that
There you
sound?
go. Okay, perfect.
Val, you submitted
We
this
keep
question,
break.
so you can ask it.
Absolutely. So this is a question for my
Yay!
fellow hosts. Now, this might be a bit of a familiar format to the question, but if 5 of our listeners were stuck on the track of an oncoming train, but you had a lever.
Don't start it, Val. You wrote this question.
Okay, well, but my grammar's still okay. If 5 of our listeners were stuck on the train tracks with an oncoming train, but you had a lever to pull, which would see the train detour and hit one of our Patreon subscribers instead, would you pull it, or would you let it hit the five listeners?
Five. So the classic trolley.
The trolley problem,
Trolley
but with our
problem.
listeners or our
Five versus five.
five listeners or one
versus
Patreon.
one Patreon.
Gentlemen, take it away.
Do I know who the listeners are? Are they local
Gives
listeners?
a fuck. They haven't given us a cent.
That's true.
I mean, yeah. Sorry, that might be important to you. It's not important to me. Sure. We'll just say it's. Hold on. Let me bring it up.
Well, no. The more important one is which
Patreon?
Patreon subscriber would it be? Yeah,
What do you
that's
mean?
the more important
They're
question.
just, they're just
Because
a
we don't
figure,
get
aren't
crap
they?
with
They're just a
listeners.
figure to. Oh, sorry. Can we mute this? No. We'll say it's the patron is Hugh, and then the listeners are Zach, Sambino. They're probably all patrons. But, yeah, they're all
don't
patrons.
read out their names.
Oh,
That's okay.
patrons as well.
I mean, $3 a month is $3 a month. I mean, five lives
I've listeners.
versus
Listen.
$3 a month.
They mean nothing to us other than being our listeners.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
mean nothing to us until they become a Patreon.
I'm trying to make it sound as evil as possible.
I'm
What if they were yelling at the train, like will become Patreons if you
And
let
no,
us go.
that train's not hackable.
Nothing-
You
nothing
can't
could-
carbonate it,
It's-
you
it's-
nerds.
Yeah, it's not like when your car breaks down and you ring up the fucking roadside assistance and like, yeah, you can sign up right now. That's not what this conversation is
Yeah,
about.
That's right. You have to live with your decision, yeah. Or die by your decision, I guess.
I'm going. I mean, I have so. Which track is the tram on right now?
It's
Is it, if
hitting
I
the
don't,
five.
if
It's
I
hitting
don't touch the lever, does it hit the 5 people?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna leave it.
There you go. All right, so 5 listeners. Kevin, what about you?
Well, I mean, I just have to go back to like who tied these poor people down in the first place, and
Val.
can we just
Val.
Yeah, right.
I
So
overpowered 5
Val-
people. Yeah, me and my 70-kilogram frame. Yeah, sure. Go on.
So yeah, if it was Val, I'd be tying him to the tracks, and
I don't pay for this.
unfortunately, his 70-kilogram frame would not slow the train down.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. No,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
so I'd probably spend too much time thinking about it, and then everyone
They
would
die.
die somehow.
That's not okay.
Yeah.
So what? And look, but for me as well, I would absolutely let the train go straight through those 5 people. It's got a place to be, right? But the thing is, what we've learned from this question is the fact that if you happen to find yourself stuck on the train tracks, you'd want to hope that you're a Patreon subscriber in case me, Nick, or Kevin are around to save your life. So please subscribe and sign up to Patreon.
Okay. I'm just gonna pause
All
now.
right.
We'll have a little break,
Absolutely.
and then
Go
we'll
for it.
come back in just a moment.
Hey, we're recording.
Okay, we're back.
Don't be-
We've had a nice little break, and in that break, we've been joined by fellow host.
I made it. It's me. It's Jacob.
Welcome,
Jesus
Jacob.
Christ!
Do you have? Sorry,
Oh.
Jacob. Just on the just for the video YouTube viewers, do you have capacity to put your video on your camera?
Let's see how ugly I look after that fucking flight.
Oh no, a 2-hour flight.
Nah, it's not like
There he is.
There he is.
Beautiful.
Thank God.
There
we got rid of that
I am.
bloody
Great.
back- got rid of
Well, I
that
can't
bloody
see
background.
myself, so if I fall out of camera,
Nah, you're fine, dude.
out of view, you gotta tell me.
So, let's jump straight back into
Let's
it.
have Jacob read the first question.
Jake,
no,
he probably
doesn't.
can't with
No,
his
never
on
mind,
his
yeah,
phone. Let's not do that.
never mind.
Oh no, I can. I'm splitting the damn screen.
Ah, sweet, yeah,
I can
sure.
do it.
But your video is
damn well
gone
read it
now.
because this is I'm.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
all right.
it's gonna come
That's
and
okay.
go. Unfortunately.
So,
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Hold on. Is it back now?
yes.
Oh, it is. There we go.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
see.
Okay. It's gonna go every single time I click off. Yeah.
So
But
don't.
You
Uh,
you might have to turn your volume down ever so slightly, Jacob, because you're deafening me at the moment.
Yeah, can you turn your microphone down a bit, please? Maybe 25%. Cool. So the next question is from Sambino. I have been thinking about one set of rems for all my factions.
Mm,
If you were to choose just one set of rems, what would they be? Favorite faction rems?
mm.
I feel like rems, like I get that you could absolutely use rems for any faction. If I was to answer the question as written, I'm gonna answer the question, then I'm gonna address the question. My answer to the question is I like the Yujing rems because I feel like they're the most neutral of the remotes.
Okay.
All the Pano ones, the neutral, sorry, Yujing, Pano, and Nomad remotes are all, in my opinion, very neutral. You could chop and change them as much as you like. Personally, I would not do that because remotes make up an integral part of almost every army that I build. And if they're painted in a way that's going to stand out, I get that's not the biggest issue. My issue is that when you compile an army, you can paint them however you like, but I feel like the one thing that really brings them all together is the basing. Above anything else, regardless of the color scheme,
Don't know what you're
regardless
talking
of the concept that
No idea
you've
what you're
decided to
talking
go with for how you're going to paint them, if every unit in the army is based the same way, then they look coherent, in my opinion. So my problem with having rems that are gonna fit into different armies that you're playing is, are you basing everything the same way? And if so, go for it. If not, then they're going to stand out like a sore thumb.
Cool. All right. All right.
Does anyone else have any opinions on that?
Kevin wants his chicken bot apparently.
Yeah, chicken bots, baby. They're the best Rams. Have them in every army. Chicken bot, chicken bot, chicken bot. Make the chicken bot your Longya. They look like Longya. Just
They
they've
look
got
better
2
than
feet.
Longya.
Like Longya.
Longya.
No, I'm sorry.
Like
I'm
Longya.
repeating myself now. No, I think it's a good question.
It's doable. I think
All Rams look the fucking same. Really, you can paint an O12 bot to look like a hack bot just by painting it green. You can make a nomad bot look like a panel bot just by painting it blue. Who gives a shit? Buy the one that you think looks the coolest, because they all do the same thing, except for obviously the S4 remotes. There are differences there, but they're, again, you could probably have a not Sujan, Rushi, and
as
tell me it's a
pacemaker,
bulleteer,
that's
and
what
I
it is.
wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't care. I think, yeah, your point about basing is good. That is a problem that exists in NA2, I find, because somebody out there will have a Pano army and a Yujing army, and then they'll try and play White Company, and they'll be like, "Here's my army," and then Nick will be like, "They're not based the same. Fucking get rid of it. It's burning my eyes."
Base.
Anyway, yeah.
I'm not saying that if someone brought that army to the table, I would have an issue with it. Just that it's not something I would do myself. All right.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Hey Jacob, what about you, mate?
Whoa.
I mean,
Whoa.
the answer's there.
So Jacob, I'm just gonna ask you to turn off your video, I reckon, just because the
You still
lag.
hear me?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Yeah, just turn it off, and I think just so we get your voice. Cool, go for it.
Yeah. Well, I made a joke about it being the Ariana Rams,
Nah.
but my camera decided to steal the show. No, I mean, I think everyone's sort of partial to the old CA like worm-looking robots. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably actually go with the Nomad ones. I
The
just
new
like
one?
the look of them the most.
No, man, it's fair enough.
Yeah, the new ones.
Cool. The next question is for you specifically, Kev, from Abiscus, asking, on a scale of 1 to McMurder, how angry is Kev that bikes get cover again? So Kev, this is your opportunity to just rant for a couple of minutes, not longer than a couple of minutes. Just keep it as concise as you can, but just talk to your opinions on the changes that have made ITS14 bikes now canon.
I don't get it. We all want more playtesting. They playtested this for a season.
I wasn't asking you,
Val,
Val.
this is
I wasn't
this
asking
is
you,
my
Val.
turn
It's
to
got
talk.
Kev's name in the
Talk
question.
when
It does.
Okay, so I was really mad about this about 2 weeks ago, and now my anger has subsided. Not because I have accepted the change. Well, I have accepted the change, but not like because I like it. It's not an elegant change. It's not a subtle change. It just, to me, was something that we were trying to ask CB not to do, or when I say we, I mean me and a few other people online were trying to ask CB not to do, because it was just a weird rule that existed in one season and hasn't existed since. But I will admit, I'm not going to rant about it anymore because it's there. I do like it because it makes bikes better. Right, but this goes back to my previous thing before, when I say that during the break or before the break, was nobody wants their toys to get taken away from them. Right? So most people accept this change because they liked what it did to their armies in the previous season. We can talk all we want about bikes. Oh, but bikes are blah, blah, blah. They're too big. They can't go prone. It made your army better. It made everyone's fucking army better, right? When you can have a 15 or now 16 point bounty hunter with a Red Fury that's mimetism BS12 and 8-6 move with booty for, say 16 points and half an SWC, it makes your army better. Then ITS14 came out, and everyone's army got slightly worse. And everyone was like, "Oh my god, I can't take my bikes anymore because they can't take cover." So then, my opinion of it is, CB were like, "Oh, well, this is a popular change. Oh, well, maybe we should just put it back in the game again. Not even really think about how it's going to balance the game. Let's just put it back in there."
Kev,
And they did it.
If
And
the
He's
update
getting
had
angrier as he
happened,
speaks.
if the update had happened at the same time as ITS 14 coming out, would have that made your opinions different? Like,
What do
if
you- oh, do you mean-
if there
do
was
you- what do you mean?
if there was no 1 or 2 months where the bike rules went back to normal, because we played
That's an
bikes this way
that's
for a year.
Yeah, and I thought it was overtuned, right? So this goes back to like Head Chime's question, like, what would you do if something was overtuned? Would you be upset about it? And I was like, well, yeah, it is overtuned, and they put it back to, and then what they've done, they didn't put it back to normal. They gave all the bikes mimetism, so they've obviously lifted them all up a bit, and they dropped the cost of bikes as well. So like a good example is the Arigoto biker went from like high 20s to 19 points. That's freaking crazy point drop, and now they've just gone. Also, you can have cover, and sorry, Val, I can tell that you're getting ready for some ASMR there. So, would you want to say something?
I was just gonna say, Nick, this is much like the Lion King episode where Simba asks
The
his
Lion King episode.
well, the Lion King movie where there's Simba asks his dad what that place over there is. That's a graveyard, Kevin. There's a place for you.
That's
It's
the
called
shadow- that's the shadow place.
the shadow place, right? The forums,
Look.
Kevin. There's a place called the forums. Go there.
Yeah.
You'll
Look,
find people
no, look,
like-minded
look.
like yourself, my friend.
This. So I'll not talk much more on it, but going back to that point about people don't like things getting taken away from them. This is a positive change because it's affecting most people positively, but I don't think anyone's looking at the negative consequences of this in seasons to come, in the next 12 months. I could be wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong about it. I'm happy to be like, take my old cranky man hat off like after a year and realize it wasn't as big a change as it could have been. But I think the meme I shared when this dropped was like, everyone's gonna be running a motorized bounty hunter with the Red Fury now. It can.
Well,
I
Val,
think it's gonna
Which,
hold.
which should be
my-
a Spitfire, by the way.
My take,
Nick.
yeah, it should be it should be a Spitfire with shock. So my take on that opinion of yours, Kev, is that if you think it's such an issue, then lean into it, right?
Break the game.
Be the change that you want to see in the world.
No,
Or
I'm not that. I'm
Be,
also not that kind
be
of guy.
the problem that you want to see in the
no.
world.
There's a
not that
peasant
kinda guy.
asking a question. So that's not actually a dig. Their name's actually peasant.
Really?
Yeah,
Someone
genuine.
asked a question?
Someone, yeah, it's not them. They're named a peasant, so I'm not like talking down to them.
Okay, yeah. Let's hear this one.
I can't read. We established.
Hey Kev, yeah, I'll read
Okay.
it. It's all right. Do you actually need to wear glasses, Val?
No.
Okay. Hey Kev. Okay, this is just for you, Kev, apparently. Hey
Oh.
Kev, what is the strongest Oz meta and why is it WA? Thanks,
Yeah.
Bart.
Bart. All right, Bart. Why is WA the strongest
I bet
meta?
Bart whipped Kevin up the other week. That's
Look,
why.
Well,
I mean, I'm gonna before
would-
I know this question's addressed to Kev, but I'm gonna address it beforehand before Kev even jumps in. Does WA even have a meta anymore? Right? WA
we don't hear from them.
WA meta used to be white noise.
Whoa, that's
They used to have
We don't hear from
they
them.
used to have a presence.
That's right.
Where did they go?
If a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, right? That's the
Yeah,
same thing.
exactly. It's an illusion brought up a bit from isolation.
Does WA even exist? I think
I've
it's
been
conspiracy.
over there a couple of times now to play the WA folks, and I think they've
Yeah.
got a very strong player base.
because you're a paid crisis actor.
I think W fell off the edge of the earth, didn't it? Back in
So
the
what
back
this-
in the. if we
What
can
this
believe
comes
the
back
calendar.
to is our previous conversation about TTS, and really what's has to happen is WA has to join the rest of the 21st century, and start playing with other people other than themselves. That's my challenge to you, Bartholomew.
No, look,
Come over to Victoria.
I
and
do
we'll,
have something
we'll-
to say
we'll
to the
find
WA
out.
community, because we have been posting our episodes on YouTube for a couple of months now, a little while, not a huge amount of time, but we've been posting our episodes up on YouTube with a video component there. We don't get a huge amount of comments or anything, but we did have someone comment looking for where they find the community in Western Australia.
Not a crisis actor.
If my point is, if you've got people looking to find your community and they come to our YouTube page to comment about that, that's a problem with your community. You are
They're
not
desperate.
You are not vocal enough. You are not accessible enough, and you need to do something about that.
I don't know. They've got some pretty good folk out there to be. If we're gonna stop being facetious for a moment, they got some good peeps out there. James Higgin, I think, is taking over some of the organizing. I think there's a few other people out there as well helping out. I know there's some new blood there as well. But yeah, I haven't heard much about them either. So
Yeah, well, hopefully they can come over for BCB 2023.
that'd be nice.
A few more of them.
Oh, of course.
Just the two that came.
Yeah, sorry, and of course they've got we had two people from Perth, or two crisis actors, or whatever you want to.
Crisis.
Scott and Scott and Barry.
This is
Scott
Val's
and Leon.
like
Scott and
the
Leon.
Earth is flat.
Yeah,
The
no,
Earth is
Nick's
flat.
planted this
WA
in me.
doesn't actually exist.
I'm gonna make-
They're just crisis actors.
I'm making crisis actors.
Australia only has an
Really.
East Coast, right?
That's it. I'm gonna make crisis actors.
I wouldn't joke about that too. There is a guy. There is a big belief that Australia doesn't exist.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Australia as it doesn't
Legitimately?
exist, but Western Australia in particular, that's
Wow.
fake. Yeah.
Jesus.
100%.
No, I'm saying legit. There are legit people
I
who think
know.
Australia doesn't exist.
Yeah,
That
there's people. Yeah.
if you fly to Australia, you're going to like some place where it's just paid actors.
Okay, this next question from Wanna, please. Does somebody want to read this?
Yeah, sure, I'll get onto it.
Don't need glasses, for-
Wanna asks, how many mentions of tempo will it take to trigger an aneurysm in at least one of the hosts? Well, I think that's already happened tonight.
I just, to be fair, Wanna is he's basically a sub-host at this point, so he can answer this question himself. He's always with us, so yeah, big shout out to Wanna. So thank you very much for your support and your presence. So you tell me, when do you have the stop button as much as the rest of them on this tempo discussion? So
I mean, do
Yeah.
we need? It's not going to happen right now.
an episode on tempo,
But that's what I was going to say. Do we
absolutely.
need to sit down and knock this out?
100%.
What we need to do is we need to do an infinity tier list on
Which faction says the best
Which
tempo?
faction has the best tempo?
No, break it. No, go further. Go deeper. Which unit says the best tempo?
Oh god.
Like,
my
the problem
God.
with making
Beautiful.
a video like that is the fact that you like I can appreciate the skit, but to hold that for the length is tough.
it wouldn't
tough.
it wouldn't
It's tough.
it wouldn't work.
Anyway,
It wouldn't work.
What do you mean? I'll be holding it. For
Anyway.
Next question.
the next question. So, Gravity Train, Hugh, hey hosts, is there what? What the fuck?
Can I read? I want to prove I can read. Hey host,
Okay,
is there what is the mission that captures or represents ITS for you?
Oh,
Further, is ITS Infinity for you, or is it a broader church than that, relating to 2020 narrative play, doubles events, etc.?
right. So what is, in our opinion, what is the mission that epitomizes ITS?
No, I think what he's actually asking is what does
Well, he's asking two things. He's asking different things.
And that's the
There's
first
two
question. The
different
second question
questions
is different. Yeah.
Yes, he is actually. Yeah, okay, yeah, no,
there.
you're
There's two
right.
questions, right?
Yeah. I can read, but I can't comprehend. I can do one or the other. Jacob, you want to take this one away because we've been answering all the questions. I think Jacob's found the porn channel in his porn room, in his hotel.
Jacob's landed in South Australia, which is approximately 1985.
I swear he's found the porn channel in
we
his
spent
hotel
a good
room.
amount of time just 5 minutes ago shitting on Western Australia, right? Let's just take a moment to talk about South Australia.
They're underpaid, they're bubble tea workers.
Because Jacob is coming to us live from South Australia, and is coming on some sort of dial-up internet, right?
Maybe at my place in Brunswick.
Kev is like 200 kilometers from the nearest fucking source of fresh water.
But those miners need high-speed internet for all the porn they watch.
That's true.
This is true.
Jacob's landed in a major city, right, Adelaide, and can't even get his connection to work properly.
He's no, Hugh, we'll get to your question. We're not actually that stupid. We can make sense of it.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Okay. So yeah, what is the most ITS mission? There's a few for me. There's a
guys
few.
can hear me, yeah?
Hold on.
We can.
Yeah. Can you want to answer this one, Jacob?
Can you answer this question
We've just
first?
been ragging on
Yeah.
you 3 minutes without
I
responding.
think I think probably supremacy.
Supremacy? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's got your button pressing. It's got your
Just reading Kev's notes.
holding objectives. I don't know if it has classifieds. But if it has one classified, then it's everything
It is
about
everything
ITS
You're right.
is in that mission.
He's right. Actually, that's a really good point. Yeah. Okay. I think that's a great point. To be honest. I'll answer that question as well. I'd say supplies for me, but I think you guys make it. I think Jacob in particular makes a great point about supremacy. Nick?
I'm going to do you one better,
Sure.
and I'm going to give you the best 3-mission lineup
Go for it.
possible.
Go for it. I think that's what you asked, but sure.
In the game of Infinity, if you see these 3 missions as a one-day event, I don't care where it is, I'm going to it.
All right. Sure.
Supplies, supremacy, decapitation.
That's
You're wrong. You're wrong. Last one should be firefight. I thought you were going to say supplies first. Should be
Firefight?
firefight.
No. You're right. Sorry, you're right. I agree. Firefight, because firefight's got like 4 classifieds now, so that's better. Yep. Yeah. Supplies, supremacy, firefight. Those, if you have those 3 missions combined, gives you everything that Infinity is all about.
Sure.
You've got quadrant control. You've got not the mission quadrant control, but as a theme, quadrants you want to control. You've got supplies, has the button pushing and the like capture the flag.
Oh, Jesus. Wow, Kevin went heavy on you. Oh, that's really rough.
and then firefight for
Jesus.
for
Just lost the paint. You can see his name stop going from green to it's gone to white now. You just lost his Patreon. Jesus, Kevin. You said you wouldn't pull the lever. No, I'm joking. Anyway.
Yeah. So those 3.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So that's
Now,
the
the second part of the question.
so can we let Kev answer this part? Kev, do you have anything original to say?
Do we need to? Because Jacob just read his notes.
No. The bit was that that Kevin was going to answer, and I'd be like, "Stop it! You're repeating Jacob." But anyway, that's gone now. So we'll go to the second part of the question.
The second part of the question: is there a broader church than just ITS? So 2020 narrative, double events, etc. I've participated in one narrative event in the 5 years that I've been playing Infinity. It was at CanCon, and it was the year where they did the ITS during the day and the
CanCon at night.
They did the ITS in the day and the narrative at night.
Yeah.
Would I do that again? Absolutely not, because that
that's a lot,
format was horrible, because it meant I didn't get to socialize at all. I remember I drove Kev through McDonald's drive-through one night of those 2 days.
Did you you didn't have a child at CanCon, did you?
No, I didn't.
See, so there is a purpose to that format.
Actually, no, my eldest daughter Madeline was conceived at the following CanCon.
Conceive, that's the one. Yeah.
That's right. So I had
that format
yes, I loved playing the narrative game. I thought it was amazing, and we had an awesome time. And the weird and wonderful things that they were able to throw into that narrative game were spectacular. Is there a place for it? it's tricky because so much of Infinity is focused on the ITS. These other things that like 2020, for example, I don't even know what 2020 is. I've never played it. I've never heard of it. From what I understand, it's just like a different set of missions that are a bit more skew-if than what ITS is.
It's designed by one of the locals in Melbourne as well. Hendrik. So I should play it really. Kev, Jake, have you got any opinions on this? Second part of the question.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I have a little bit of an opinion on it, just on the ITS. Yeah, I think ITS is pretty much where most of us play, but I think I'm just eating crisps. There should be a place in the yearly calendar for your fun events, for your narratives, your doubles.
Yes.
2020 is great as well. Like 2020, just for those who don't know what it is basically you roll a d20 for your primary objective, and you roll a d20 for your secondary objective. Or sorry, it's not quite that way. It's like d20 is like the mission that both of you have to play, and then the d20 is like the one where you play yourself, and it can make it really skewed and really fun and really interesting. And some of them are very competitive, but it depends on the d20 roll. But I love a doubles event. I love a narrative event. We haven't had a narrative event in Melbourne in quite some time. 400 points events. Great. Like I consider like out with the ITS 150 points events. We had that for the new player.
That was really fun. That was actually great.
So I think that kind of it sparks joy, right? It can get you out of that mindset of like, oh, I need to prepare for the next big event. Throwing a 400 or a 150 or a narrative into the mix can really kind of spark your interest in a faction or a profile or just the game in general. So I think it's healthy for a community to do that.
I think it's something.
How often it happens?
I think it's something we could,
depending on how it's.
I think it's something we could adopt in Melbourne.
But the game supports it. The game is capable of supporting it. Jacob, do you have any opinions on this one?
I remember, I think one of the first few games I played was actually a narrative event. Maybe in the second tournament I went to. I think it was run by Russell.
Oh, no. Russell.
All the times ago when he was down in Melbourne. And yeah, it was good. It's nice to have a story, and I think that there needs to be tournaments that have that can maybe even sort of help add to the narrative that is Infinity. We know CD is sort of trying to build that narrative to be a bit more solid, and every ITS has a little story behind it.
True.
I remember back in the day when it was based around what were the team of hackers called?
Team of hackers.
It was a team of 5 hackers I think Bit and Kiss were a part of.
So it was like the
Alive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Cypher,
that's the one.
Bit and Kiss.
The Naruto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be cool to see, someone making their tournament around some sort of crisis or event, and then you have it based. You have all your missions. You might take a mission and tweak it a little bit, and you might come up with something that's really new and fresh. I mean, we've seen Corvus Belli take missions that people have developed themselves and put them into the actual official tournament. So it's a good way of potentially thinking of a way of playing Infinity that challenges people in the way they haven't been challenged before.
Yeah, right. Well,
I think sorry, one more thing on that is in the new year I am looking to run a league locally among everyone in Victoria. So I think that'll be really fun because it will be ITS, but it will have challenges and it will have like achievements through it. So that's a good way of like balancing ITS play with fun achievements on the side where people who aren't there necessarily to take it seriously can still have fun and enjoy themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that's a great idea.
I I actually really enjoyed during Kevfinity. Sorry, I just came in there. I'm obviously a bit laggy. I enjoyed during Kevfinity the little challenges you had just there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like it just kind of
Yeah, that's a great
gives
idea,
you something
Kevin.
else to
When
do.
have we got that? Nothing.
Cool. So
Now,
the next question comes from.
I'll just quickly answer that one because I didn't really get a chance to speak on that one. The only thing I'll say is that I think Infinity is capable of supporting any way you play it. It's basically Counter-Strike in the sense that the engine is so solid that you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. The reason we play ITS is just because it's the most common and the easiest because it's all done for us. But if we want to put in some creative process to it, we can make it whatever we want. But yeah, let's move on.
Cool. So the next question comes from Ogre asking, other than yourselves, which is like, that's the worst part of this question, right? Because I really just wanted to say that, just point in our direction. Other than yourselves, who creates the best content for Infinity?
Go for it,
Cough,
guys.
Why?
cough, Fast Panda, cough. Now, look,
Who's Fast Panda?
yeah, Val just said the quiet part loud, right?
No.
I'm gonna be honest.
Write-ups.
I'm gonna be honest. I had to look up who Fast Panda was because I didn't know. But they do YouTube videos.
You're just not part of the zeitgeist, are you, Nick? You're just sitting there in your own little house, just ignoring everything else around you.
Everyone else is a crisis actor.
No, I listen. I listen to other things. I've been listening to So I've been listening to the Guerrilla Games.
Musk.
I've been listening to Ash's new podcast.
Why? Sorry.
Technical awareness is what it's called.
Tactical awareness,
And
yes.
I know I spoke about this on the last episode we did, but I think they're doing a really good job of keeping themselves grounded to be content that can be consumed by people who are very new to the game. Right?
Yeah,
A
okay.
lot of the conversations that we have and a lot of the conversations
Too
that
advanced
a
for
lot
these
of other
noobs.
people have are very advanced conversations.
That's right.
Not, I wouldn't say the word
Very advanced.
I
You
would
sound
say
like
that we use the vernacular and we use certain terminology that if you are new to the game, you can have no idea what we're talking about.
You
Right?
can't keep up with this tempo. Simple as that.
Exactly.
I think this is
can't
a
keep up
good
with the tempo.
opportunity.
So I think Tactical Awareness are doing a great job, and I mean Ash already has a massive audience from his work on YouTube. So
Fuck that guy.
so they've probably already got more listeners than we do. But
Yeah, absolutely. We probably have like lost listeners since he came out.
That's just anyway. We've talked about it previously. He did his market research on us. He pulled the wool over our eyes. I want to move on.
it is not like that at all. It is not like that at all.
Anyway,
We have to, as content creators, we have to support other content creators.
That's what Joe Rogan does. You're right.
Anybody else wants to start a podcast or do whatever they want, that's absolutely fine. Because the more content that's out there, they give different angles and different takes on the game and what we can talk about, right? So they take it from one aspect. Other people talk about different stuff.
Sure.
From a podcast space, I think there is a real need for people who can have a conversation based around new players, and that's what Ash is doing.
Jacob, Kevin, what do you guys think?
I had a quick one. I wanted to take this opportunity because of this question. Fast Panda, I love what you do. Your Tale of Four Gamers is a classic format that got me into that was always in White Dwarf, so you doing it there is really great. But I think it's a good opportunity for us to just shout out other content creators that are out there and spread the word. So I'll start off with a couple that I really enjoy. Late Night War Games is probably one of my favorites to listen to. It's long form, much like us, 2 or 3 hours long. They don't just talk about Infinity, but most of it is Infinity related. And those guys are really, really good. Very, very, very entertaining, and you can really feel the chemistry and the friendship in that group. So they're really good to listen to. Rob Cantrell, obviously with his YouTube channel, is probably got some of the best in-depth analysis of games without being
from a battle report perspective. I think nobody does it better than Rob does.
I mean, I'm not just trying to like jerk him off at the same time, but like
We do want him back.
think that what often happens with podcasts like ours and other content creators out there is their battle reports are often like, I did this, I killed this was unlucky, my dice rolls were bad, but I won anyway, and that's kind of it. Whereas he kind of goes into more like it kind of cuts out all that kind of fluff that no one gives a shit about anyway, because it's just dice, and it really goes into decision making, list building, units which you may not have thought can do this one thing can suddenly do this one thing, that sort of thing. And then finally,
sorry, just talking on Rob's channel, rather than focusing on the
mechanics,
minutia of what's happening blow by blow
in a game,
he presents a situation and talks about the options that are available to the player, and then the option that they chose and why the decision-making process behind that. And I think that's really valuable as an Infinity player to think about, to have that kind of aspect on, or perspective on, that decision-making process, which is so integral to how we play the game. And that's why I really like what Rob does.
That's right.
Jacob, and then lastly, lastly, I just also want to shout out Infinity Gamer, because he's he puts out some really good content, and I do like the visual aspect. I also liked his recent video about how to build a table. It probably could have done. It needs a little bit more. Sorry, when I say needs, I mean it is great for generating further discussion, but also from a new player point of view, one of the things that I often hear from new players is like, how do you build a table? And without knowing the principles, you can just make a bad table without thinking about it. So I think that's another person I'd like to shout out.
Jacob, who you listen to?
Jacob?
Engage with?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. We've already mentioned Guerrilla Miniature Gaming. We've mentioned Ash. He's great. Especially looking recently in the last couple of months, he's really pumped out a lot of battle reports.
Yeah.
I tried to get into some podcasts. I think I may be a bit cursed because I think a lot of them ended as I started. I tried to start listening to Mayacast.
Listen to this one.
Yeah, Mayacast. You know, the one thing I want to say about Mayacast is, and this is me being lazy, is if they were just on Spotify I would listen to them all the fucking time.
Same. Yeah, I don't know why they're not on there, but yeah.
It's not that difficult to be on Spotify. It doesn't cost you anything. It's literally just put your RSS feed on Spotify. I will listen to them all the time. It's because my Potato Podbean catcher app, which is what we're actually on Podbean. It's shit. It's really bad. Yeah, it's bad. So I just have stopped listening to them, not because of them, but because my Podbean app is terrible. I should just download Apple Music, but I'm too lazy for it.
We'd listen to them more.
They can be like that.
Yeah.
And
but anyway, that's
I mean, we're on Spotify, right? Which proves that it's not hard.
No, it's not hard. So Jacob, you were answering the question. You were finishing.
One of them, and they don't continue it anymore, but I wish they did, because they actually had a really good series, was Miniature Wargaming, which are another Canadian company. Obviously, they do Warhammer and other games more than anything else. But they had a series that was Learning Infinity.
Okay.
And they were actually doing, like, they did really nice videos, but they obviously just didn't give them the popularity that...
Wasn't that the same as Guerrilla Miniatures?
No. I know who you're talking about. There were guys who, like, there was the ginger guy, and they were like in like a basement looking place. Yeah. Yeah,
it's like if you ever hear like Warhammer Dave or whatever his nickname is.
Yeah. Sorry, is it on YouTube?
YouTube.
Yeah.
What's the name of the channel?
Miniature War Game.
Yeah.
Ash was with them early on, apparently. So
I was gonna shout out Ash, obviously, for GMG. He's excellent. Even though I looked through his catalog the other day, and there's no Eldorado game, so I guess if I'm ever in Canada, that's what we're doing, Ash. Rob Cantrell, I think everyone's highlighted the value of Rob Cantrell is just deep inside into the game. And Whip 12, I love. I think Whip 12 do a great job. They have great consistency. in their I guess production, and they cover good content. And big props to Volsc, who started again the YouTube thing. He was fresh on the scene, so yeah. Well, in terms of Infinity wise, he was maybe GMG beat him, but still he was probably he was one of the early adopters of YouTube talking about Infinity. So
Yeah.
props to him again.
Yep.
I'm not, the,
yeah,
I'm,
and
not,
yeah.
I'm not the only one that have watched their videos and go on, fuck, I want to go to Canada, take my minis just so I can be on one of these videos.
To go to play on Guerrilla Miniature Games. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
alright.
Next question. So we have from Spear Oats. He asks, "What is?" And this is a non-infinity related
Kevin
question, which I'm
again.
so glad to see because we haven't actually had a non-infinity related question all night. What is your
Oh.
favorite Australian whiskey distillery? And he writes Blackgate and Craftworks for me to get the conversation going. And as a follow-up question, what is the best mixer for whiskey? Wrong answers only. Who wants to take this one away?
Like
Milk.
I don't drink a huge amount of Australian whiskies. Starwood is one that I know I have had, which I've enjoyed. Val and I have just had a delicious Japanese whiskey, which
Yeah, good.
the Hakushu is what that was.
Oh,
And when I was pouring the drink for Val, I explained how when I was flying back from my honeymoon, I drank 3/4 of a bottle on the plane.
Bad.
And I was pretty toasty at that point. The second part of the question, best mixer for whiskey, wrong answers only. It's got to be orange juice.
Yeah, that is the worst answer. That's bad.
Wait, hold on. What's worse, orange juice or milk?
Oh, milk's bad.
Wouldn't the whiskey curdle the milk?
No, I mean I've been partial to a rum and milk in my time.
Rum and milk.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I am from Newcastle, so
Yeah.
don't hold
that
that
makes
against me.
I was going to say.
That's just breast milk in Newcastle, right?
Mother's milk.
I was gonna say I only drink vegan IPAs, so I don't know what you're talking about. No,
we can tell by your awful hat.
thank you very much. Grape Fanta would surely be the worst mixer.
Oh, specifically grape Fanta, which is like the sweetest, stickiest Fanta.
It's gross.
Oh, Jacob, do you have any thoughts?
I don't drink much whiskey, so unfortunately, this is left up to you three booze hounds.
Okay, well, I mean, I am quite a big fan of Australian whiskey, and if anyone out there who likes a whiskey doesn't know about Australian whiskey, you should because it's really good. One of the advantages of Australian climate is they can basically craft a 10-year-old whiskey in about half the time because it's hotter than somewhere like Scotland or Ireland or most of the US. So for me, anyone looking for some good Australian whiskies, look no further than Bakery Hill in Victoria. They create a really clean, spirit-forward whiskey that doesn't have much fancy done to it. It's just good whiskey. Coastal Stone are another one from Manly Spirits in New South Wales. They do some really nice whiskey that's, again, really clean and kind of reminds me of Scottish whiskey. And then lastly, if you're into some rye whiskey, the Gospel, which is also in Victoria, create amazing rye whiskey, which goes perfectly in cocktails, and they're really cool. And then as for the best mixer for whiskey, Cherry Coke. Basically, well, Coke in any good whiskey is awful. Don't do it. I had a friend of mine who tried single malt for the first time a few years ago, and he put some Coke in it, and I was like, why did you do that? And he was like, well, I just always have whiskey and Coke. And I'm like, all right, tell me how it tastes. And he tastes it, and he goes, it tastes bad. I'm like, yeah.
That's like
And he goes,
every single other whiskey and Coke you've ever tasted, because it just tastes like Coke with whiskey mixed into it.
It's bad. And then he proceeds to put more Coke in it to try and drown out the taste of the whiskey. And he's like, how is it tasting more like whiskey? And I'm like, just don't do it. So yeah, and then Cherry Coke, just because I guess that's a weird mix. Actually, probably would be all right because cherry.
I think
goes
cherry
quite
coke would be
well
actually
with
pretty
cocktails.
nice.
Yeah, it would actually be quite nice.
I'll do the next one because I've proven myself to be the best reader.
Sure. Same person who sent this in.
I mean, before he goes into that, this next question is more of a paragraph. So
here we go. Get
Buckle
ready,
in.
listeners. What do you think Corvus Belly is going to do in the next few years? So where do you think Corvus Belly is going in the next few years? They have
Going strong,
Infinity.
Val.
They have Infinity in two flavors: Code 1 and N4. They have Aristea, which seems to have a solid fan base. Defiance and Tangrade, which are both fairly successful Kickstarters. They successfully launched Warcrow Adventures via Kickstarter and have a war game in the same system in the making as well. On top of this, they have 2 mangas and have a number of novels coming out over the next few years. Do you think diversity is good? Firstly, for the main game Infinity and 4, but also for the company. This is a deep question. Deep question.
Who wants to go first?
I need to rest my voice.
So
Uh,
I can talk to this a little bit. I think that, like, I can understand the premise of the question in that, based on the number of Kickstarters and like games that have come out, it does look like there's so many different directions that CB are trying to push in. But really, Defiance was a one-off. We're not getting re-releases of Defiance. Tag Raid is a one-off. We're not getting a re-release of Tag Raid. Warcrow Adventures will have a general release, but really, and I mean, Aristea is a bit different. I mean, obviously, this is not talking from the perspective of Corvus Belli, but my opinion on Aristea is that the results from the launch of Aristea is the reason why CB decided to go down the Kickstarter route with Defiance and Tag Raid. That's the way that I look at that game. And in what I mean by that is that it's very niche, and Aristea is probably too niche for a general release, in my opinion. What direction, Kev? You're got that buzz coming through again.
Oh, the bear.
Yes.
Maybe I think I'm just like sitting too close to my
Too
laptop.
close. Yeah, that's right.
My laptop's buzzing.
Yeah,
Okay. My bad.
So
too
what?
hard.
Yeah, that's better. If you sit back, it's better. Sorry. So what direction is CB going in? Obviously, Infinity
Further.
is
Keep going.
the main game. I am super keen to see Warcrow land as a tabletop miniatures game. In Fantasy Setting. What the fuck was that?
No. Who cares? We don't have to listen to it twice. The listeners do.
So, like, to be able to take what Infinity does and put that into a fantasy setting, I'm really keen to see what that looks like. Obviously, we have no information about what that game's going to look like as yet, apart from just the Warcrow Kickstarter, which is not indicative of what the war game's going to look like. Apart from the models.
I was just saying, if any of the listeners have any opinions on this, please post in the chat. I'm curious as well. This is a big question. This is a big fat question in terms of it's an overall, I guess, backseat approach to what you think Corvus Belli should be doing effectively.
Like from a lore perspective, yes, developing that lore is important. I think the way they've gone about it so far is fine with in the rule books and the supplements having that lore component, but I know a lot of people don't like the way that's been written from the perspective of like reading a news report or like a lecture at a university written out as the lore sort of thing, as opposed to just telling a story. But now they've got a couple of books that are starting to be published as well. The mangas, I've read both of them.
They're great.
I've really enjoyed them.
I
I've
think the
thoroughly
mangas are
enjoyed
great way to
both
do it.
of those mangas. Could they expand that side of things more? I think so. I would really like to see that expand the manga side expanded.
There's a big question. So you're going, Jacob?
Oh, it's just I think one thing I've enjoyed is if you take a look. I mean, I'm going to just compare it to Warhammer because they're the only ones that I know have got that sort of lore based in a bunch of books. It's it's a really powerful way, them doing their mangas as a way of developing their lore. I think it means it's wildly digestible by anybody, and I don't think it's it's a short time investment to get a lot of knowledge about. I mean, I didn't know that the Shazvasti and Morats like kind of hated each other and had a fight until I read Betrayal, and they were talking about how the Morats like bombed a Shazvasti nesting place.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I don't really have anything to disagree with Nick. I think they're going to sort of they're always got the capacity to try and throw things out at the wall, whether they're really successful, like I would say Aristea kind of was, or just sort of moderately successful, as maybe Tag Raid or Defiance was. I think they're going to find out what they're capable of. Right, so hopefully we see Warcrow come out in a really well fleshed out way, and they're capable of creating and sustaining a fantasy setting. And yeah, hopefully they sort of just diversify slowly but surely.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah,
I know I did talk about
that was what I was going to
I
say.
did talk a little bit before, but I just so I can drone on even further because I like the sound of my own voice.
While we're here.
When Infinity came out, it was an adaptation of their own RPG setting and scenarios they've been playing, right? To turn that into a war game. Where Corvus Belli has evolved from that point, 15 years ago, when in its inception, is a hugely different company now than what it was then. So for them to release Warcrow as a brand new game and a brand new universe means that they have the opportunity to take all the learnings that they've had from developing Infinity over the past X number of years and apply that to a new launch. So hopefully that's the way that it goes.
Chev?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
You
I was just going to say that
you have some insight on this question. Mum's the word.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess you did kind of reference. Well, you made me think about in my interview with Coney when I asked him about the War Core program and what's going to happen when War Crow comes out and how is that going to get rolled out to people who want to build that community. And they did say that they've looked at the War Core program and how they can make it better and help communities that want to play War Crow grow. So what I wanted to talk about was diversity is good as long as the company can continue to spin those plates. So you have Infinity and you have War Crow. Those are two big games with two, I imagine, will be big worlds. And I would love to see Warcrow become as popular as Infinity to increase the player base, because you currently have people who play this sci-fi skirmish game, and there is a demand in the market clearly for a fantasy skirmish game. So if CB can pull that off, then we should expect to double our player base, which means more money for CB to do things like more mangas, more novels, more small splash release games, and hopefully, something like a Horus Heresy book, type thing. That's what you want in the end, right? You want like a... Huh?
No, sorry, we were just adjust the volume.
Yeah, like you want a world building novel series or something like that for players to get their teeth into. And I think Warcrow will be quite well positioned, because what we've heard so far from the Warcrow Adventures dungeon crawler is quite interesting. Like there's lots of interesting characters and races and places, and it's all very mysterious. Like no one quite knows what's going on. So I think it's a good basis to start from. So hopefully, like you said, Nick, if they learn from what they've done in Infinity, they can just like kind of take that leap and run with it and that's what I hope for.
Absolutely.
So I'm full of positivity about where it's going to go.
So what I'll quickly say is the fact that I think everything they've touched, they've done a fucking stellar job. Infinity, great. Code One, great. Whether it's successful or not, a different question. But if you play it, if it was only Code One and no Infinity, it'd still be a good game. Aristaya, fantastic, great game. Defiance, great. And finally, Warcrow and Tag Rate, I'm sure they'll be great as well. I just haven't played them. But basically, but in terms of what they should do and what they're doing, I think diversity is good. They've got a solid foundation as a company with Infinity. Every game they create is fantastic and deep, like I said. I hope they breach into the fantasy market. I guess that's what Kevin touched on, because I think there's a lot of reliance on Infinity at the moment to support Infinity Playbase, to support their other systems. So I kind of just want Infinity or Corvus Belli to establish themselves in the hobby space or I guess universe as trusted game designers that they are, because everything they make is great, but they just got to get their name out there to be trusted, kind of like the GW, where people like, oh, GW, it's gonna be great stuff, right? So people just jump on board. So yeah,
Well, you
It's
say
going to be balanced. It's going to be so balanced.
GW is going to be great stuff, right? That's just what you said.
yeah. I guess
GW do
Not true.
amazing
Yeah,
miniatures.
even he's like,
Miniatures, yeah.
actually, I didn't mean that.
But I mean, you look at the report, their shareholder reports, right? Because they are a publicly listed company, and they talk about themselves as a producer of high quality collectible miniatures. Nowhere do they ever talk about that they make games.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
talk about the miniatures. And
Oh,
the
they have
collectible
changed that.
miniatures.
They have changed that tack, though, haven't they, in recent years?
I don't believe it has.
I don't know.
I think their community feedback has definitely improved in the last like 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know, their engagement with the community has
Yeah.
improved, but the corporate stance that we are
Sure.
a
Miniature.
a collectible miniatures company first and a games company second has never changed.
Yep.
Whereas if you look at a company like Corvus Belli, in comparison, they are much more closer in that we create games and we create miniatures for those games.
There's a follow up to this question.
I don't. Well, you see loads of people who buy Games Workshop models to have just from a collector's perspective, and to have those models and to paint those models. Do you see many people do the same thing for Infinity miniatures who don't play Infinity?
I know a few people.
I'm not sure.
I know a few people. who pick up
I
Infinity
would say on that is, since Defiance was dropped, I have had a few people want to buy my Defiance minis purely to play RPGs with.
That's fair.
That's great. That's great. Yeah.
So I think there is a niche there.
They're growing
because,
slowly, but
because CB are known as high quality producers of minis.
Yeah, I also think that they have, I'd say, probably cornered the market on Cyberpunk.
yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
think,
there are the Cyberpunk series of miniatures, but they don't. Nothing compares to CB in that terms.
Absolutely not.
And if you want Cyberpunk, you're not going to want to go out and get Warhammer miniatures.
No.
So
All right. So what's our next question? What's our follow-up question?
If you were in control of Corvus Belli, where would you invest resources? Where would you pull the pin? What new things would you
Jack and
try?
Hoogers. Sorry.
Again, think about the main game Infinity N4 and also the company as two separate things.
I'd make more pulpy miniatures. Way more.
Well, what? Sorry, what was that?
Way more pulpo. So much pulpo. I want every miniature
Pulpy.
to have a pulpo.
With the
an octopus.
octopuses.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
that does-
Ever since I went to
It's-
Vigo, I've
Is that the
appreciated
octopus or the pig thing?
the octopus, because octopus in Spanish is pulpo or pulpi.
Oh,
Pulpi.
okay.
I think it's plural or singular. I can't remember.
I would like to see them bring bootleg back.
The bus.
Was that
That's the bus.
CB, or wasn't that a separate company who did that
Maybe
on their
it's a
behalf,
company.
sort of thing?
I'd license everything.
Wasn't it? I thought it was licensed.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. What about you?
Um,
No, I think that the bootleg they did actually.
Well,
You-
I'm not
It's
sure.
it's such a hard,
Jacob's in
such a hard
a
question.
church.
Well, I've got an answer. I've written an answer, so I'll just quickly. Yep.
You go, Noel.
So basically, what I would do if I was in charge of Corvus Belli, I'd scrap Warcrow. I'd buy the rights to Eldorado and I'd relaunch it. Straight up, Eldorado is going to be one of the best games I've ever played. Like, it is fantastic, and I'm going to force all of you to play it one day. I swear to God. Anyway, no, honestly,
I've literally never heard of this game before until you started chatting on the Discord.
well,
with
you'll
Ash
hear more about.
Eldorado.
Ash hasn't even played it. I think I'm just forcing it. He's just been polite because he's Canadian. So look, I appreciate it, Ash. Thank you. No, but honestly, it's such a difficult question. Like, it's yeah, I don't know. The one thing I would do as a company, I would focus on getting rid of the stigma around Infinity being a difficult game to learn. And I guess and for that, the reason for that is I try to reach a wider audience with their other products, and and basically what I'd also try to do is maybe push the Warcrow system to maybe find like a standardize a way people teach Infinity if you have to, just to make it more approachable or make it easier for people to bring other people into the hobby.
But didn't they already do that with Code 1?
I guess, but the thing is,
they've tried.
Having Code 1, and having people willing to do demo games are two different things, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. That's what I would focus on. But but it's such a hard question. Like, who the fuck was to be in charge of such a big company with so many people on the forums? Like, ugh. Oh.
All right. So next question is from me. I guess I'll just ask it because it's me. Hey, I've got one for my fellow hosts. It's another hypothetical. If Libertos were removed from the game tomorrow, how would you feel? And then explain why you would feel that way.
Now, because I've got you here, Kev, I need to ask, why do you feel the need to ask this question?
Because
text.
there is some discussion about CB adding mercenaries to factions and them just being very min-max, and they become a staple of a lot of lists, and then people are like, okay, can we just not have these as options anymore, please? Can we, every vanilla, so like Libertos are a great example, because every vanilla faction except Pano is really just 14 orders with an irregular order that's actually a mine and a Liberto. Like, it's just so obvious. It's like, and here's my 2 camo markers. You will know what they are. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, it's a Liberto. Cool, thanks. So I want to propose removing them from the game and asking you, would it actually change anything for you? Like would you feel hurt by it? Would you be like, oh my army's shit now? Or would you be like, yay? Or would you be like, that's fine?
But I mean, personally, I've been playing sectorials for the past 2 years, maybe even 3 years.
Like you play people who don't. You play people.
Yeah,
who
I
don't.
know. But yeah. Let me make my salient point. That
we'll lose.
Like, I've been playing sectorials for a couple of years now, and so I haven't had access to Libertos, but I did have access to Libertos when I was playing vanilla, because I was playing vanilla when they first came out. The fact they have stuck around for a long time is a tricky question to address, because the Liberto, I agree, it is a strong profile and everyone likes to take it, but it's strong, but I still think it's not necessarily OP in the fact that for an 8-point model, you still have to pay that SWC, right? To get the one that we're talking about is the mine layer profile specifically.
Yeah. Too close to a no-brainer. Maybe you were too much of a scrub to use it when you had access to it. Maybe you didn't see the value.
I just think I'm not coming.
No, back then I'm sorry.
I'm not coming from a point of view of them being OP. So let's just get that out of the way.
It's not
OP. Yeah. But
it's just too easy to include.
Like you say, when they become a no-brainer for 90% of the factions out there, I feel like that doesn't feel great.
But just because something's popular doesn't mean that it should be removed.
When it's popular, every single faction that can
Yeah,
have
across
that.
the board. So yeah, popular in one faction is one thing, but
Across
popular across
the
separate
board.
factions. Yeah.
Like, when have you ever played against vanilla faction that hasn't got Libertos in it? Except for Pano. Like, no, just try and think
No,
of
I do
one
take
vanilla.
Libertos
Yeah,
if you
no,
want to play
no,
vanilla.
yeah,
Yeah, I do
no,
take
you
it.
do, yeah,
What, try and think of one vanilla faction where you've never had to play against a Liberto.
Go to down
And
to
I
go down
would
to
No.
it's
Every time you play against Pano.
got him.
I mean,
Got
yeah,
him.
just and vanilla Pano, as we know, are widely played.
Yes,
Like,
no,
in the
absolutely.
community.
Look, I would
Okay,
have no
so,
problem.
sorry. I'm going back to this hypothetical. I just want quick
so
answers,
if
from you guys. 'cause
Libertos
you haven't
were removed, how would you feel? How would you feel? Is the specific question that's being asked.
Yeah.
Yes.
How would I feel? I'd be fine.
I'd be fine.
Because I would
Okay.
manage. I would rewrite my vanilla lists. Not that I have any, but I would rewrite my vanilla lists and I would move on.
I would,
Because that's the attitude that I take, right? Is that
Yeah.
I'll take what's in front of me and I'll work with it, right? I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to whinge and bitch about it because ultimately I can't affect the change that has happened.
True.
So I'm just going to deal with it.
And Val, what about you?
I'd be fine as long as my bikes get cover, so that's fine.
Jacob, what about you? Are you
Got
back yet? You gone? Okay, so yeah, Jacob's not here. Yeah, so
Jason said be right back.
I just think that they need to get cycled out like every other mercenary does, like diggers,
Yeah, just get them out
Krakots.
for a bit.
Fiddler is a harder one because she has 42 points, so she's not like that
So
like, easy to slot in. But
the way I feel about it is I feel like, and this is unconfirmed, but this is just the vibe that I get, is that CB brought out Libertos, made a model for them, and then the oh shit moment that came from that, because they're so widely adopted, led to them the subsequent mercs that have come out, like your diggers and your beast hunters and things like this. We know because these models don't have, because they're attached to tag grade, for example, they don't have a miniature release. They can go at any point. The reason that the Liberto will not go is because there is an SKU.
But I just think that they could be. Anyway, that was it. That was all I was going to ask. So we'll move on.
We'll move on to Zach.
Yeah, Zach.
Sorry, quickly, I was muted.
Oh,
I have a tamed dinner.
nice.
I've never used the Alberto, so I would not care.
Oh, you're a scrub.
Yeah, but but in what faction do you have access to the Liberto in the factions you play?
Yeah, he plays.
Maybe in one or two.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, do you want to be more specific, please? Because that's an annoying answer.
We can move on to the next question.
I've just found that he never quite fit my play style.
Cool.
So to lose him,
what play style is that? That play style is like, I don't want you coming down this alleyway. Here's 2 camo markers. That's the fucking play style. There's no like, oh, how will I fit a Libertos into my list? I wonder what my tactics will be. It's pretty fucking obvious.
Hey,
it's a Liberto. It kind of does what it says in the tin. It's like a can of baked beans. It's really easy to use.
If Sujans don't fit my playstyle, Libertos don't fit Jacob, so that's fine.
Yeah,
fine. Horses for courses. Right.
Zach.
Moving on.
Zach, should mercs be an option in Soldiers of Fortune? Should mercs be a Soldiers of Fortune?
Jesus Christ, learn to read.
Should mercs be an option for Soldiers of Fortune extra only, or should it be always available?
The way that I've set this up as well is the screen that's got the questions on it is right in front of Val's face. So,
but all the letters are jumping around. So what can I do? I don't know. He set the monitor to a weird setting.
Oh my god.
Anyway, basically the answer is no. Have you met Rob Cantrell? Like, he would just abuse the shit out of it. The merc should only be an extra. Simple. Done.
I thought, have you met Rod Cantrell was part of the question. I was going to say yes. I have.
No, it's because you.
All right, guys, come on. Let's just start answering the questions a bit faster.
Okay,
let's do that, shall we?
Where? So the next question comes from RPK.
No. I mean, we
haven't answered.
Oh, we didn't answer the question.
They didn't
answer it. Should mercs be an option for Soldiers of Fortune extra only?
Yeah. The way they are, so should most only be able to be allowed when the tournament organizer determines they should.
I don't think so because
Oh, it doesn't.
they do like at vanilla. It comes down to the question of vanilla versus sectoral, right? And sectorals are strong because link teams. The vanilla are strong because of versatility and
But they don't
and,
get mercs at the
and
moment.
extra mercs. No, mercs as in should they have access to Alberto and all these other mercenary profiles? That's the question.
No,
Yes,
okay.
it is a question.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So is this question suggesting that like McMurdo wouldn't be part of CHA?
No,
No.
the question is McMurdo.
Well, I don't.
The
Yeah. Well,
question
no.
is would bounty hunters be a part of Yujing?
Oh, okay, right. Yeah,
No.
the more
He's
generic
talking
one.
about like
Gotcha.
the all. You know, when you press the spec ops option, it gives you a whole. So you can take all of a sudden you can take Nauf, McMurdo, Saito Togan.
Yeah, but
all those.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
but
no,
if
Val,
you
that's not
don't
what he's
click
asking.
that
though.
button,
Yeah.
those mercenaries are still available to a whole bunch of factions, right?
But no, they're not. No, but that's not the question. The question
That
is
is the question.
The question is like, should it be for everyone?
Should they be only available when you select Soldiers of Fortune?
Yes, so the way it is, and I think it should stay the way it is.
Okay, yeah. So I don't think so. ugh. I think there should be more limitations put on mercenaries in certain factions. So for one, I don't think the Libertos should be available in Combined Army. That's one of my suggestions. Two, I think that Libertos should be available in Dashat because they're a sectoral where it makes sense in their lore. Three, I think Krakot should still be available in Morats. That makes sense. And
Yeah.
Combined Army, that makes sense. Right? Nauf should still be available in Starco because that's where he fucking belongs, but he shouldn't be available in every other vanilla faction. Maybe he can be available in, I don't know, vanilla Pano because of fluff or something, but there should be less of a wholesale like here's your mercs, here's Armin Lemuet in all of the factions, including Hack Islam.
That's good
I think there should
pronunciation.
be maybe it should be more curated and only for, and then Soldiers of Fortune is where you would get all of them.
Cool.
That's my opinion.
Nice. Next
mean-
one. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
If it makes sense lore wise for them to be there, fine.
Yes.
But if it's just oh, we give everyone this merc, just yeah.
Get rid of it. Cool. All right. Next one. Can someone read this one?
RPK asks, where was that stooped and merely coloured and merely coloured old man I used to call Papa when the merry-go-round broke down?
I'm not smart enough to understand this
I
question.
haven't read Catch 22, so I don't know the answer to the question.
Yeah, I haven't read Catch 22 either. I had to Google what Ryan wrote to understand what he meant.
What do you
but
mean?
essentially, he's throwing shade at our podcast, so we can move on.
Please, yeah,
but
no,
thanks,
tell me.
Ryan.
No,
I'm
so
all for
the idea behind this question is that this is the question you ask when everyone else around you is asking inane, stupid questions.
Yeah.
Where was
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Next question comes from Cranky Old Man.
got me?
What is
Did think
what is
about
the
it.
least played
you,
or
Ryan.
seen faction or sectoral?
All right. I would say it used to be Vanilla Pano, but I see it more lately. I guess because the N4 has changed the balance a little bit, which is cool.
And this is
and
just
outside
speaking
of that-
locally as well, right?
This is just locally, yeah. This is locally what I've seen locally mostly. I mean, I guess some online events, perhaps, but mostly just locally. Now, outside of NA2, I think Nick was the only person playing Yu Jing until recently.
I'm bringing them back, by the way. I'm bringing them back.
So this is Kevin just trying to bait me. Like Kevin, is ISS a joke to you? Are they not Eugene?
Oh yeah, shit, yeah. ISS
Just-
or yeah, I thought they were an NA2 faction, or a discontinued faction.
Fucking
So
Christ.
yeah, but I would say most factions are prevalent in our area. NA2 will obviously be played less. Pano does get played less, and then I think, yeah, like ISS and White Banner, but there's not really any other Yujing, especially not vanilla Yujing being played in our area, which is interesting because they're strong.
I think QK, and I haven't seen a half on the table for so long.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Ryan plays QK sometimes.
Yeah, I haven't played with it, so yeah. Jacob, any factions you don't see?
I mean, have you guys been seeing French so much that you didn't bother to mention them?
Oh, true. Yeah, yeah,
Kind of-
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I
that
did. I
helps.
mean, Julian had them out at some point.
Yeah, but
So I guess I've seen them. Put it this way: I've seen French more often than I've seen vanilla Eugene in the past
enough.
like 5 years.
fair enough. Yeah.
That's yeah.
I honestly have not seen
But no,
since
yeah, true.
the BCB before last. I have not seen CHA.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
If I do end up coming to CanCon, I'm bringing vanilla Yijing.
Nice. There you go. There you
Wow.
go. There you go. What factions have you never played that you really want to try, and why? And conversely, what faction have you seen and thought it was too icky to ever consider playing?
All right, so this is a question
question's
from
from
Diomedes,
Diomedes.
one of our listeners. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Diamonds.
Faction never playing, but really want to.
JSA for me. I've been flirting with them for so long. And the faction I absolutely have no interest in would be on the spot. Toha. Done. There you go.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
ones I
that
have no
makes sense.
interest in, it's easy. It's Toha and Combined. I just don't like playing alien factions. Yeah, I'm just kind of like.
the defender of man.
That's right.
Very nice.
Yeah, I was going to say racist, but.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, I'll save you. Put you out of the fire there.
Yeah. Say,
Yeah.
sapiocentric.
Sapiens,
perhaps, is a better way to put it. But the ones that I like, personally, ones that I'm like leaning towards, I'm really keen on, and this might be my next faction, and I've probably actually told this to a couple of people, that this is going to be my next faction, is going to be Assassins.
Ooh, very nice.
Oh wow, that's a step change. That's a left step.
You're getting cool, Nick. Getting cool.
I don't think it actually is that much of a step change, because if you look at the way that I actually play the game and the types of things that I lean into with like trades and heavy camo and things like that, I feel like Assassin is like, that could be particularly since the most recent updates with them. I'm like, yeah, this is something I could definitely lean into. So once
Shikush is basically a red wolf.
I said I've said this to people before, but once the Code 1 releases for Hackaslam have
finished.
run their course, and they get that box that comes out with all of everything in the one
Yeah.
box, I'm gonna buy that. I'm
Fair
gonna
enough.
buy that box.
Sounds good.
Yeah, no, I think that I want to just mention that when I was talking earlier about like how you pick a faction, and I think it's a really good point you raised, Nick. It's like you've realized over the last 5 years or whatever you've been playing is like you like to lean in. You actually like this. Like you may have dabbled with different types of lists, but you like to play heavy camo and kind of sneaky and kind of like subterfuge, and Assassins actually does make a lot of sense for you. So it's good. It's interesting that you've said that, when I would have thought that you would have been playing
me 5
something more
years
heavy,
of playing this
hard hitting.
game to come to that conclusion.
Mm.
Maybe I'm just slow.
Yeah. For me, I really want to get into Cosmoflot because they seem like the new hotness. Shock Army is about the only Pano faction I would ever play because they're like the least Pano. And then Starmada. Actually, I've actually started playing games with Starmada, and they are taking me out of my comfort zones, which is fun. It's interesting. I like it. And then conversely, I will never play JSA, ALF, or Toha. JSA because I'm not fucking weeb. Sorry, no. I feel like that is wrong thing to say, and people will get offended, so I will not say that. JSA because I just don't like the aesthetic. I've never liked the anime aesthetic of Infinity in general. Same goes with ALF. ALF feel too anime to me, and then Toha because I don't want to play artichokes. Basically, that's it.
You don't like the aesthetic of a JSA?
No, don't like them. Don't like it. Never have.
Me.
Like I can appreciate the models. I can appreciate.
Don't
the
mind it
sculpts.
back. Just hold it
I,
down.
like,
doesn't-
I recently
Doesn't do
watched
anything. Ghost in the Shell. Don't care.
I recently watched the Cyberpunk anime
It's good.
on Netflix,
Good.
and I was like, "This is amazing." I'm still not playing JSA.
Hugh made a good point. No invisible army players. There's no invisible army players. Yeah, he's right. There's none. Absolutely. Jacob, any armies you would love to play or would not touch with a 10-foot pole?
I would really like to actually play Rama Task Force.
Nice.
I think they're super. I think they're super flexible, and probably lean to my play style. One that I wouldn't play because I think they're too icky is Varuna.
Nice. Cool. All right.
Yeah,
I think the ability to take the cutter, the Ulang, and the Dragos, or something like that.
No, it's just the cutter and it's just the cutter.
No, you just kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. The cutter for me is just such a good tag. It's ridiculous.
Varuna can only take the cutter.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool. What's the sexiest army, gentlemen?
Like,
Oh, this is my
Kev,
question.
is that you or is that the other
Yay.
Kev?
This is me, baby. Because it's because somebody else asked the question, but they didn't ask a question, if you know what I mean. So
you rephrase
this
it.
is the question.
Cool.
So I've asked, what is the sexiest army? Come on, guys, tell me.
JSA.
What gets your pulse racing?
JSA, MO, and USA Arena and Challange are all pretty cool aesthetically for different reasons. I think JSA has the best sculpts.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with JSA.
Weeps. Yeah, we're all weeps.
Okay.
Mm.
Jacob, what do you
I
reckon?
want to agree with that.
I'm gonna have to go to my roots, and I'm just gonna say Aleph.
Okay.
Okay, I know this is gonna be surprising probably to you guys, but I actually think some of the sexiest models out there right now are Pano models. I just really like the coat and the
Worse than
hood.
being a weeb.
Kev's
The
really
old-
into missionary.
The old hood thing going on with the Vargar and the car.
The snow
and the
theme
few-
gets you reckon?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the snow
okay,
theme gets
nice.
me. Yeah, the
Yeah, fair enough.
Fusiliers and the even the Varuna stuff looks quite sexy. It's kind of sleek, it's skinny, it's kind of. I like the sculpts.
Great models, yeah, but nothing.
Yeah,
on
no, I
JSA.
think they've got really good models. So I think I've always thought Pano, as much as I hate them, have really nice models. So there you
Sure.
go.
I just can't. I can just never get over their the antennas.
The little
The antennas
on the road.
are just
Well,
they're just appendages, baby.
That's very much from that Bubblegum Crisis. I think they all had those antennas.
Bubblegum Crisis.
And then
go
what is the
back.
least
Yeah,
sexiest
crispy.
army? Is the follow up?
Wow.
Yeah. I remember that show. That was on
Mate,
SBS later night.
we're somehow we've dug up some ancient
Gem.
quality anime
Very good anime.
in Bubblegum Crisis. I watched that as well.
That was great.
Absolutely. So that's not what this podcast is about. So
Nobody asked.
Are you guys-
Nobody asked what our favorite anime is. It's a loss.
you
guys
should have
can't,
if you wanted
set
to
any
talk about your
clips?
favorite anime,
Nah,
you could have
I didn't.
entered that question anonymously,
I could've,
and then I could have talked about Girls und Panzer.
What about Yuri on Ice? Yes.
Have you guys moved away from your microphone at all, or is it just me that's not hearing you as loudly anymore?
No,
Or are you guys just getting real drunk and you can't speak loudly?
Probably.
no, I think we're going down with the volume because there are children sleeping. So I think we have.
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's okay.
Makes sense.
We'll
That
talk
makes
a bit
sense.
later. I'm sure it'll be fine. If our listeners have to, they can just turn up their own volume.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do something for
so
us.
the follow up to that was the least sexiest army as well.
Was it
The least,
Is it?
yes,
Ah,
the least
ah.
sexiest army.
the least sexiest?
Oh,
Nomads. Yeah, don't dig it.
just in general.
Yeah, and nothing in there's very little in Nomads that jumps out. Like every faction has a good model, but I think Nomads has the least for me.
Nick, what about you?
Put me on the spot a little bit there.
Okay, Jacob.
012 because fuck the police.
Okay.
Hey.
Fuck the police. All right, Jacob, what about you? Least sexiest.
I think it's slowly becoming the new Morats.
Ooh, that's controversial.
Oh,
I
no,
like
I
it.
can see
I like it, Jacob.
I really liked their uniform,
Previous.
Hunter House, theme they had going, and the new ones just I can't.
That's a fair
They're
argument.
just so all over the place with every single model, and they've got. It's one of the things I think the Zera that came with the beginning box. She's got this breathing tube that goes from her mouth all the way across her body. Right, and it annoys him because as soon as she turns, he's going to pull it out and suffocate.
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
Nick, sorry, Kev.
What if it's like an
For
accordion
me,
type
it's-
tube? You don't know if you can.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway,
For me,
It
it's
doesn't matter. It should be
Right.
on one side.
Yeah.
okay. So for me, it's just Toha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just I just don't get the aesthetic at all.
what?
Not
you,
sexy.
bad.
you don't subscribe to big titty gorgos?
The Nakul, the Nakul, the Gorgos.
I mean, it's not. I don't. I
the
mean, it's not what I would
beasts,
call
the Makul,
sexy.
the Gal.
It's
No, they think I'm good models.
No.
No, you're wrong though.
no, they're all bad sculpts. They're all just bad.
Yuck.
Cool.
All right,
Yep.
moving
They're
on.
also-
So the
Oh.
next question is, which army would you most like to play based on aesthetic, but don't for other reasons?
All right, I really like the look of Svalheimer, just from the panel point of view, because again, like the coats and the hoods.
you need that smooth brain.
But I
flavor.
don't. I don't like the way they play
Yeah,
at
you need
all.
a smooth
So
brain.
yeah, I'm too smooth brain.
No, I'm saying you
Yeah,
would need a smooth
um,
brain to play them. I'm saying
Oh,
your big
yeah,
brain.
you play them, right? Yeah.
That way I can
No,
talk more.
for me, it's military orders.
Mm. Yep. Fair enough.
Deus Vult.
I get that.
I think they look absolutely amazing, but they're just pano.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
For me, JSA, I think they're amazing. I think they're best. Like I think I'm gonna repeat myself, but yeah, I just can't justify another faction. So simple as that. I got too much Eldorado
Okay.
to buy.
I mean,
Well, that's-
unfortunately for me, it's Ariadna. I love the look of them, and even when I painted an entire army of TAC, but when I started to play them, I'm like, I'm just not gelling with this. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next question. So from Zach, lol host, do you actually, and he puts this in capital letters, pick your armies
Actually?
based off aesthetics or perceived power levels? So this is, I guess, is like a callback to the, pick the army that looks the best for you and you'll do fine. Or is it or should we be putting players towards the power level? So what do we think?
For a new player coming into the game, I still think the best way to pick your initial faction is pick the one that you like the look of the most.
But I think
Right.
it's starting us. But yeah, but you're right,
Hands down.
absolutely.
For me personally, like, what is the next? If I was to look at the next faction that I'm going to play as an established player who knows the game and is a veteran, I would. I mean, I think I have to place them equally. In that, I know that I would never play Combined Army because I don't like playing aliens.
So that's an
And
aesthetic.
so that's an aesthetic choice.
Yeah, that's right.
Even if Combined was OP in inverted commas, I wouldn't play them because I don't like playing non-human factions. What do you guys think?
I pick on power level. The weaker, the more likely I'm going to play, basically, and aesthetics. I picked up military orders on the aesthetics alone, and I play ISS because of the power level. And Morats, when they were weak, I played them because of the power level. Perceived power level, I think everything's balanced. But anyway, that's me.
Yeah, I
Hey-
mean, when I
hey,
played ISS, it was purely because of the aesthetic, because of the Yujing models. I love the look of the ISS ones, so I can definitely appreciate that.
There you go.
I have a slight side question for both of you, Jing players. What will it take for you to play Bow Troops?
Ooh.
Like, if they can get their points reduced by half,
I need everyone running a Day or Specular Killer in the local vicinity, and then I'll play them.
Okay.
So
the
Oh,
answer
for-
to that is a lot.
A lot. Okay, so on the main question for me, I don't choose either of those things on what I want to play. I always choose based on the play style and what I'm looking to get out of the army. Aesthetics comes second, with power curve far down the end. So, for example, I have picked Starmada recently to pick up because I was interested in running their flexible harnesses. I was interested in running the Zeta because I really like the look of the Zeta, and I also wanted a kind of good guy faction to play for a while, so that was why I picked them. Nothing to do with aesthetics really, nothing to do with power curve, and basically all entirely on their makeup and what I could potentially do with the faction, which would be fun. So that's my reason, and I think I would actually put that on to new players as well. Even though a new player often doesn't know what faction does.
Yeah, they wouldn't know the playstyle.
So you want to put them obviously onto what they like the look of, but you also want to be able to break it down into bite-sized chunks on what each faction can do, so that everyone knows what a barbarian does or a cleric does or a wizard does, right? So you can kind of break it down into something easy for them to understand. Even if you have to use 40k analogies, that's probably better than just being like, pick the faction you like the best looking, because people are like, Varuna looks so good. Yeah, but they do one thing. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to pick them then. So that's my advice.
Yeah.
Jacob.
Whenever I'll just add quickly to that, and I'll tell you, every time I've heard a new player that comes in, they generally say, then they give a list of like 3 factions. So generally I say pick 3 factions that you really like the look of, then go ask somebody what they do. Find one that fits your play style or what you want to get out of them. I'm the same as you, Kev. I look at an army for the most part. I mean, I want to do this funny thing that this faction's really good at. So when I picked up Toha, I wanted to take a look at triads. I wanted to take a look at playing with Ferroware and like the pseudo 2 wound models. When I picked up Assassins, I wanted to take a look at. I think they have very flexible harnesses too, as well as the Fidays.
Yep.
So
it was more of a
if there's
mechanical
a faction
aspect.
Yeah, but if there's a faction that looks like really appeals to me, sometimes that does override. I think I got JSA because I thought they looked really. I like the look of them. I didn't necessarily think that they were
your playstyle
a great faction. I just wanted Space Samurai.
Nice. Just quickly, because it is nearly 11 o'clock, we probably do want to go pretty quick through the next couple because I need to get home and Nick does have two children. So, sorry. It's still 11 yet. So I reckon we move reasonably quick because we still got some juicy questions. This next one's beautiful.
We do.
So Hedgeheimer asks, why is N4 actually less fun to play than N3, which is a beautiful question. Thank you very much.
It's a disgusting question. Why did he ask that question? Why is he putting us in this position?
Why is N4 less fun than N3?
What is fun? First of all, let's quantify that.
We said we're going to be quick through these questions.
Okay. So you're right. Let's be quick. Let's be quick.
It's simple.
Anytime you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, it's simple. Rose-colored glasses.
Yes, we're all getting old and we're scared of changes. For example, buy snag get cover. Move on.
It's the same. It's the same people who in N4 are still getting like N2 things wrong, and you're like, dude, move with the times. Like, Jesus Christ, like, why are you stuck in N2? Because they're like, well, because then we had fall damage, and climbing. Anyway,
more realistic and immersive.
I know.
And Shadow Zones
push,
was immersive.
And I had to draw a parabola when I did a speculative fire.
Yeah. Just push that out of your brain. Like, also, new stuff goes in, old stuff goes out.
Tags. Sorry,
I mean, I think there is still a case to be made for tactical insertion. 15 model troop, right? Do we need it? Yes. I don't know.
I'm kind of coming around to that your thought there. I feel like at the beginning of N4, I was very open to the idea of 15 trooper limit, but now I am wondering if it would really change much if we just opened it up again.
I really like the fact that the 15 auto limit has broadened the selection of troops in that 20 to 30 point range, right?
Yes.
You now can pick the different things that are in that range, whereas previously you wouldn't because you just go for numbers,
Yes.
right? But if you were to open it up again, would that dissuade that? Would that go away?
I think so.
I don't know.
I think so.
I'm not entirely sure it would. It would in some factions, sure, but I don't think it would. It would be back in 3 gate.
It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting. We can do a tournament to test these.
But we can't. It's not the sort of thing that one tournament.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Can speak to. So
We can do.
Yeah, I don't think it would open up. Zephyr's saying, I think opening it up would allow the old problems of N3. I don't agree. I think a lot of the problems of N3 have been kind of fixed in N4 anyway, and we've been playing it now for 2 years. I don't think people are suddenly going to go. I mean, you can limit it to two combat groups, but the thing is, I never.
But it's not the
saw
only
more than
change
two
that
combat
happened
groups
between
anyway.
editions, right?
You never saw that anyway. Like, it didn't happen. Like, it would be like 2 combat groups in a war core, which is like whoop to do. It's 3 combat groups, but
But both those
21
combat
models.
groups will be
Like,
full of like
you know.
tradable pieces and then a couple of big pieces. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like Nick's saying,
I
20
don't
point.
think it would make that much of a difference. Yes, he is saying you could take 10 Delame for 8 points. Go for it.
Yeah, but
Tell me if it's good,
Yeah.
because I'm going to guarantee you it's probably not as good as you think
probably
it
not
is.
as good as you think it is. I agree.
Okay.
But the thing is, like,
Especially when we're limiting it, especially when you limit it to 2 combat groups. I think that's probably more of a fix, not just like 3, 4, 5 combat groups. Not that you never get to 5, that'd be ridiculous.
Alright.
But 2 combat groups, because then 10 Delame wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Because you'd still have 10 orders in the other group. I just don't think it would.
all right.
Moving on.
next question comes from Gravity Train Hugh. Which faction, not sectoral, could be scrapped without regret?
Doha. Done.
That's the cop out.
I mean,
You wounded me, Kev. You wounded me.
the brackets
Yeah,
of not
fuck Toha.
sectoral kind of restricts this one for me because I definitely agree. Toha could be scrapped without regret, but also every single sectoral that has been discontinued could be scrapped without regret. 100% for me.
No.
Like you can't buy those models
No.
anymore. Stop playing.
Which
them.
one?
If
What we're talking
you've
about?
had those
Nick's
models,
being a right wing.
you've had those models. This is not right wing. You've had
Extremist,
those. You've had those models for 10 years, right? It's time to move on. Buy some more miniatures. Support the company that produces the game that you love so much, and buy a new fucking faction.
Jesus
right?
Christ.
Move on.
This is sounding
can't-
more and more
we
right
can't-
wing as you go.
Put
Nick.
your French in the bin and get rid of
We
them.
can't let Nick out after 11. He's just doing on violence.
No, the French are dead. Long live the French. Long live Cosmo.
No,
I
Matt.
am so strong. My strongest Infinity opinion.
Just make sure I didn't fuck it up.
Sorry, my strongest Infinity opinion.
was
My
good.
strongest Infinity opinion is that the discontinued sectorals, while I think it's nice to have them available for the past couple of years, I think it's
says
I
not
think it's time
sectorials.
for them to go.
That question says
I know,
it's
and
not.
I'm deliberately ignoring
right,
that part
okay,
of the
sure.
question.
Alright,
I'm
sure, that's fine.
deliberately ignoring that part of the question.
Okay, no worries.
Right. Next question from Antipodean Bolt. He asks, "What would it take to get you to main panel for ITS14?"
The desire to speak with Trent on a daily basis. So that's not going to
Why
happen.
would you want to? It would just be.
Got him, lads.
Pass.
Panel could,
I don't
panel
know,
could
but
get
buy me,
smoked, then sure.
just freaking buy me the military order box. I'm cheap. Just buy me that, I'll do it.
There you go. Jake can be bought. The rest of us have been
So
taken.
that and the Montesa motorized bike.
Yeah.
I'm done. That'll
There
do
you
it.
go, nice. Why was
All right. Kyle asks a similar. What the fuck?
press control Z.
Oh, we're moving on.
You just delete
Yeah.
that question?
Yeah, we're moving on.
Okay. Okay. He asked another question. He asked, "What about drop bears? They're excellent, and we're better for them." Okay, so yeah, that's fine. We know drop bears are great. That's
So
good.
the reason,
Zephyr
the
asks
reason we're
another
moving quick.
question.
sorry. I just wanted to make sure the listeners. It's not because we don't value the question. It's simply we're running out of time. It is pretty late now, so we're just trying to get through.
Okay,
They
sure.
can't see the question.
Okay.
No, but like they can feel that we're
Okay,
rushing.
so Zephyr asks, what do you think is the strongest skill in
Good question.
This
Infinity?
is a great
And
question.
if you were to design one unit for each, oh sorry, we'll do one question at a time. What do you think is the strongest skill in Infinity?
For me, camouflage. I
Proper
think
deployment.
camouflage is super powerful.
Okay.
Didn't he ask?
Jacob, what was yours?
Sorry, was he asking for player skill or?
No.
no,
It's
no,
just what is the
Infinity.
strongest
Skill,
skill?
like a
Oh,
list, like
yeah,
an item that's in a
um,
profile.
infiltration.
No. fair
Okay.
enough, yeah.
And Nick, what do you reckon?
Six cents.
Nice. Good.
6 cents. I'll probably say impersonation for me.
Nice. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's
strong.
pretty self-explanatory.
Yes.
And if you were to design one unit for each vanilla faction to help fill their weaknesses, what would it be? This is an interesting question. I mean, I'm not gonna do it for each vanilla faction.
Yeah. No way. I just did it for Pano.
I will. What was your one, Val?
Well, my one is give Pano a BS11 gunfighter. That way they can appreciate what they've got.
So you give them a profile that no one will take.
They have that though. It's called the Auxilia.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
I was gonna say I would love to see another S5 chonk in Hack Islam.
Nice.
Just
they
to
were really-
see how they've come along with their heavy armor. I know we've got the Azrael, I know we've got the Alpha Seed.
Alpha Seed. I love
but
that.
I'd love to
I love that
see-
model. It's a
You know,
great
I'd love to see like
model.
Tariq's twin brother, but like like kind of like Iron Man, but then like the other guy, what's his name again? War Machine, but
War
just
Machine,
like
yeah.
him. In Hack
That's pretty
Islam,
cool,
just being
yeah.
like, save
So-
save Islam. That would be my one.
Do you think impersonation should be available to more than 2 factions?
No.
No.
It's great. I fucking love the
I
way
mean,
it is.
hold on. It's available to a ton of factions. It's just the
Well,
stronger
Toho,
impersonations.
Yeah, yes.
I'd love
Cybermask
to
is an
see-
impersonation.
No,
Toho gets it.
I'd love to see.
discounting
Cybermask.
Cybermask and NA2. You can take it in Hack Islam and combined.
That's it. Yeah. And Tohar.
And
gives
And
the
Tohar a
Graph,
little
Graph,
bit
but
with
yeah.
a Greif up.
And Janstar, whatever. Yeah.
Nah, it's fine the way it is.
What I'm saying is
flavour.
Yujing needs some.
I see.
Yujing needs some.
Always angling. Always angling. Nice.
Eugene needs
Needs some of that.
the slug.
Yeah, given the question, a RAM with repeaters for Aleph.
Oh, fuck off, idiots. As in, like,
Okay.
like
It
no.
says to
wait,
fill their weakness. It says to fill their weakness. Aleph have great hackers, but no way of getting a hacker net out.
Give Netrod's repeater. No, fuck.
But wait, all of your ramps have repeaters. What are you talking about?
I think he's
No, they don't. Just
Well,
the
the
standard
flat
REMs.
forward deploying REMs. Or
Ex- Yeah, and your the big guy, he's got a repeater.
Okay. Moving on.
Oh, whatever.
So if you had to restart playing Infinity, this is from Papa Chew. If you had
Oh,
to,
what about Trench Deep?
No,
I thought
you
we
missed
read that
you missed
one already.
Trench
No, we
Deep
haven't.
first.
oh sorry, from Trench
Deep.
Deep, relatedly, and as an AMA question, what skill has the highest return on player skill?
Okay, so just to define what this means is it means it's like a skill that becomes more important, more powerful the better you are at the game.
Exactly.
So as we
that's
said
what we
before,
put, Kevin.
camo is a skill that is very useful even if you're not that good at the game.
It's true.
Mimetism is a skill that's very useful if you're not very good at the game.
Indeed.
Marksmanship is a very good skill if you're not very good at the game. But what is a skill that gets better the better you get at the game? Who wants to go?
Stealth, impersonation, stealth or impersonation or camo.
Okay.
That's for me. Or mine layer. No, mine layer.
I'm
No,
actually-
sorry, Jacob. Mine layer or just the
Yeah.
ability to lay mines. The better you are as
Why?
a player, the better you get a.
Why though? You just want to briefly explain why?
So the better you are at understanding, reading the battlefield, and the better you are at understanding how your opponent's going to attack, the better you are to place your mines without wasting them.
I can see that as well, because if you can take a step back and look at the angles of attack that your opponent can make, utilizing where you can put your speed bumps with your mine layer, it's very important.
It makes a big difference. Like a well-placed Crazy Koala against like a poorly placed, or just like a haphazardless placed Crazy Koala makes all the difference. Like it's huge. Like yeah, I think.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just to not say the obvious, I think stealth, the ability to like creep up and not allow someone to change their facing, to be able to punish bad facing and bad deployment with stealth, I think is well worth it. That and stealth when it's combined with any sort of movement skill.
That's cool.
Okay,
Kevin.
I would just say Strategos. It can be very clearly useful,
Yes.
but in the hands of a player and the hands of an army that can really leverage it to put, to hold back
As in
2
holding
or
back
3
more
reserves.
Mm,
Yeah, and not just your obvious one, like here's my reserve tag, that your opponent was like, I know. It's more the like here's my 2 things you weren't expecting to come on the table, which are might be 2 infiltrators, and then especially
if you're
Strategos
going
2,
first, and then combine that with the command token and keep 3 things in reserve.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be easy, but I'm gonna say like some players can really surprise you with what they can hold back that you weren't expecting them to hold back.
Yep.
And I think that's a really important skill to learn, and can really set the tempo for a game.
Hey, yes, he's on board. We got 1, just 2 to go.
Okay.
What skill have the highest learning curve payoff for mastery? Not so much skill, but I think TR bots. I think TR bots have a great potential. It's not so much a skill, but I think as I've just rechanged the question a bit. I think
Total reaction is a skill.
yes, total reaction or total reaction bots. I think I think they have a high learning curve, but there's a good payoff there. Or mine layer as well, I guess. So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're nearly
So,
there.
Papa Chew asks, if you had to restart playing Infinity, keeping your experience and familiarity with the game, but not having any of the miniatures, which faction / sectoral would you choose to play and why?
These are good questions. Why are they coming at the end? We're fucking tired. JSA or Hawk? I think JSA or Hawk. Hawk have some abilities, units, and skills that can really be utilized with a bit more player skill, and which I think I've got a little bit more now. And same as JSA. I think it'd be really fun.
I mean, like I touched on before, that like the next faction I'd probably look to play would be something like Assassins. So yeah, I'd probably lean in the direction of Hackazlam as well. Another reason being that the sculpts for Hack that are coming out these days are a lot nicer than the ones that were available when I first started playing, in my opinion.
Sure.
Yep, I think I should say Hack. I started with Hack, and I think I would still recommend playing Hack if I started the game again, knowing what I know. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would say. Yeah.
Jacob.
One more thing.
I don't know if Jacob answered that question.
Oh, sorry, Jacob. Yeah.
Is he still there?
Not sure. All right, move on. He'll message us in the chat if anything.
I was wondering before we sign off if we want to just answer a few of these quick fire questions from Jamie, because he did put so much effort into those questions.
Let's go. Let's do it.
I was thinking that maybe maybe I could ask, or I don't know how you want to do it exactly. But just like quick fire questions.
I reckon we go round robin, where we read the question and answer it, and then no one else answers. So we just answer the
one
question.
person answers it.
The question
and
read
the next question.
Sure. Does that kind of make sense?
Okay. So and then Nick asks the next one and he answers it.
Yep. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Let's do it.
So I'll go first. Why is Aleph the incorrect faction? They're not. They're perfectly balanced. Go.
Oh man, I want to reply. I want to respond to that, but I'm not allowed to.
Go.
Why is
Next one.
Why is it called a crispy potato frisbee? Why did I get this one? It's a potato scallop.
It's-
He's from New
It's a
South
potato
Wales.
I'm from
cake.
New South
It's
Wales.
a
It's
potato
potato
cake.
scallop because they are scallop potatoes that are cut in a scalloped fashion, and you're not allowed to respond. Next
I'm
question.
not.
Why is Maggie the sexiest tag? Because she got booty.
Yeah, she thick. She thick.
She thick.
Yeah.
Jacob?
She thick.
Why do Victorians like aerial ping pong? I've got no idea.
I don't even understand
Okay.
that
You
question.
tell me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You tell
Why
me.
don't I get the
Jamie.
long
You
one? I
tell
can't
me.
read.
Val.
How do I know the difference between effect and affect, and when should I use them in
I know
context?
the answer to this question. Do you want me to answer this for you?
Yes, go please.
Okay, so if you could, oh shit, I'm too drunk. Forgotten.
The
You
difference.
can be. Yeah, it's
Effect is
you can,
a general, I guess, outcome, and affect, it means on an individual, it affects someone, I think.
No, that's not. I don't think that's correct either. So you
Oh.
can be affected by depression, but the effects of depression are different.
Very nice. Cool. All right.
Right.
Next one. Nick.
Nick.
Yeah. Why was the French so? What?
What is the easiest?
Oh, sorry.
Oh no,
what
no,
is the
just pick whichever one you want.
Okay, what is the easiest way to make friends as an adult? Play Infinity.
That's wholesome.
Why was the French so overpowered and therefore needed to be nerfed? Because they had viral and needed to be nerfed because bears were coming.
Jacob.
Why do out of production sculpts draw me in more than new sculpts? Because you're a simp for rare things.
That's right. When a public is going to get a new sculpt, they're not, because nomads are getting cancelled.
Okay, why
Actually,
does Pano
not
get
bad.
so much hate? Because ballistic skill is king, and if you don't have it, too bad.
Why does a specific player my meta like Pano so much? Because
See the answer to the previous question.
Yeah, basically.
BS is king.
yeah.
Jacob.
Why am I losing? Because you play Pano too much.
Hey.
Yeah.
Why is Liberta's more OP than the Avatar? Or, well, we've already covered this. Anyway, Liberta's is perfectly balanced, and as is the rest of the game. Anyway, because it's just easy to include. There you go. That's why.
Okay, why are there so many pointless questions above?
We appreciate them.
Because you felt like wasting our time.
You know?
Why did I go down this rabbit hole? Because Kevin said we should start it.
Next.
When will the questions stop? When Nick presses the stop record button.
Hey, very good. Why didn't I ask more closed questions? Because you work in sales.
What type of sick torment are these new questions? The answer is yes.
Oh God! I'm just. Can we skip some of these?
No, we're nearly there. Go on.
No, there's still a hole in the page.
Don't care.
Oh my God, there is a
No,
whole other page.
We're nearly there.
All right.
Keep working.
Why is vanilla so much better than sectorials?
Wait, what?
It's like, why is vanilla so much better than sectorials?
Oh, yeah, you've skipped some.
Because-
Okay, that's fine. Yep.
Yes, I have. Because vanilla gives you all the tools.
Ask any contemporary HR hiring department. Diversity.
Diversity. There you go.
I get it. Jacob?
Why should LinkedIn's be banned? Fuck off. They're great.
No, they're not. Don't give me code one. That's pretty funny. Why does getting older hurts? Oh, this is.
Oh my God. So I have to tell this story,
This
right?
is Nick's
So
story.
I twisted my ankle on the weekend because I was too aggressive when taking off my shoes. So
That's incredible. I've never heard of that. Like, he's literally limping around.
I can barely.
It's
I have not been able to walk for the past 3 days.
Fuck, take off your shoes.
Was it the same ankle that's slowly turning into bone?
No, it's a different. The other foot. It was different. I've had like ridiculous issues with my feet, but this was like I took off my shoe without undoing my shoelace, and when I did it, like I forced it off and like felt a pinch inside my foot, and then
Incredible.
at the time I was like, oh, that doesn't feel good. And then the next day I couldn't fucking walk, right?
crazy.
And last week I turned 36. This is what happens when you get old.
Maybe we should get him some easies with the Patreon money. Anyway,
I feel like we have one question from one of our listeners that I asked them to
go
ask.
for it.
I don't know if we are able to, but maybe this person can ask it on air, or we can just
Get him
answer
on.
it.
Get him
in
on.
the
Yeah,
thing.
unmute him. Someone unmute
Do,
them.
do we want to get this person unmuted? Is
Yeah,
he
you
still
just
on?
I can do that.
unmuted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is it? Zephyr?
Zephyr, yeah.
Zephyr.
Zephyr. Yeah, there it is.
Before we go, if he's still around.
Yeah, unmute.
Oh my god.
Just mute and unmute. I
No,
reckon
no,
he'll
it
fix
doesn't
it.
do that.
Oh, you don't think so?
Yeah, is he still here? All right, he's got one question to ask before we sign
Jacob,
off.
can
for
you do
tonight.
this one? Can you unmute him?
No, just right click on him and give him the
Roles,
guest
guest.
role. You
Okay,
should be able
I've
to
done
speak
it.
then.
He should be able to talk now. Zephyr, you there?
Hold on, no.
Unmute yourself, Zephyr.
Go back to him. I think you
He's
made him
blue
He's
now.
blue.
guest.
He's blue.
But now mute him and unmute him. I suspect
No,
that'll-
he's in... I can't yet.
Can't yet.
Fuck. Okay, now I gotta mute and then unmute.
works every time.
Okay, what if
Just
I just
make
make
him-
him a... No.
Make him a cock. Yeah, that's fine.
That's not gonna do it. Alright, this didn't
Zephyr,
work.
can you leave and come back?
Jacob, you had one...
No,
job.
that's
Ze-
fine.
Zephyr's
It didn't work.
Oh no, wait.
Oh, well, that was
He's
a
desperate.
failure.
He wants to do it. He wants it. He wants to be on the air, boys. Give him his chance. Too bad. Sorry, Zephyr. Moving on. Oh no, there
Oh,
he
he's
is.
unmuted.
Yes, yes.
Yay!
Yes!
Zephyr,
He's
can...
made it.
Okay, everyone else
Works.
stop talking. Zephyr, go.
Sorry. No. Just say hello, Zephyr, first, and introduce yourself, and then ask your question.
Hi, I am one of the notorious Sydney Pano players, but I promise I'm
Fuck
improving.
off all
I'm
the players.
dabbling in other factions. But yeah, my question was, what would be the unit that would be the funniest community reaction if it was removed? So like just causing chaos, let shit burn. What unit would you remove from existence?
Good question. Good question.
Well, I mean, I was going to say Libertos, which is probably would cause a
Nah.
bit of upset.
I
but
think the Avatar.
I don't know.
The
The
Avatar.
Avatar.
The Avatar people would fucking be like, some people would just be celebrating. Some people are like, no, the game was balanced. That would be me. And then some people would be like, no, my Avatar. And yeah, I think a lot of people.
If Andromeda just suddenly died in the next ITS, that might be fun.
Fuck her up.
Yeah.
She can.
You know, she let her dog go sick and it didn't come back, and then she died because
I
she
mean,
was
like,
sad.
they removed half of the Steel Phalanx characters and nobody cared.
That's true. But it wasn't being played. What's a popular faction that's played? Combined Army. That's the thing.
Okay, no. If you mind, am I allowed to give what I think the answer is?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Yes, sure.
Morans.
Oh,
Brands, yeah. No, that's real spicy because
Yeah.
like they are in every fucking nomad list.
Yeah,
Nomad
that is a
lists,
good
yeah.
point.
And nomads
Good
are
point.
one of the most popular factions.
He's good.
Oh,
And their
that would-
whole thing is hacking.
Yeah, okay. He's pretty good. These ideas. Let's not give him too much airtime. He might start his own podcast.
Yeah.
We can't have any more
Hold on,
conversations.
He
hold
might
on,
start his own podcast.
I heard Morats. So what was the unit
Moran.
again?
Moran,
Moran.
Messiah.
Oh,
Hunter.
yeah. Okay,
There
yeah.
you go. All right,
Yeah,
anyway, back to the
Morans.
questions.
Okay.
Back to the questions. Let's
I love it. That was great. That was
Okay.
a
Cool.
fantastic final
Well-
question. Let the world burn. Morans are gone from the game.
There you go. Go
Fuck you, nomads.
No, we're done. Are they shit?
All right. Well, I think that's probably time to wrap it up, guys. It's been a real fun
Reckon?
cast. I've had a great time. Thank you for everyone in the audience who joined in
Absolutely. Thank you.
for our live show. But sign off. My name has been Nick.
I'm Val.
I'm Kev. Oh, sorry. I'm Kev.
Jacob.
And you've been listening to Loss of Lieutenant.
What about Zephyr? Oh,